Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Well, my name's Jade, and this is the Odd Couple Rant. And today, me and my good friend Pete Johns are going to be talking about the death of trust. This show is sponsored by DistroKid. What better song to start the show off with a little bit of murdering time, baby? Let's oge.
Only sense is the darkness, only feeling the pain, only time is behind me, don't have nothing to gain, at the end of my tether. Murdering time to save myself and others from the thoughts in my mind. I'm murdering time, so I don't end up taking a life. I'm murdering time.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. My name is Jade. Do I have a button here? I do. Look, there's my name. It's fancy. And I hope you're doing okay. Yeah? So, yes, today is the Odd Couple Rant. My special guest, obviously, is Pete Johns. That was Murdering Time. Fantastic song. It's on one of his albums. I think it's the one with the drawing. I'm so on it today. Good on me. I need to cover a few things before we jump into today's rant. Welcome to everybody who's here in the live chat as well. So good to see you. And if you're watching on the replay, all that stuff, hello. But firstly, today's show is, of course, sponsored by our good friends at DistroKid. And you too can release your music through DistroKid the easiest way possible by signing up and paying an annual price of $24.99 to release unlimited music, unlimited songs, unlimited lyrics. Get a Spotify checkmark, royalty splits if you want to split with your collaborators and all that jazz. Access to so many promotional tools, you won't even know what hit you, and a mobile access to the app to upload all of your stuff, which is fantastic. There are 3 plans. The Musicians Plan, which is the one I just talked about, the Musicians Plus, you get 2 artists for $49.99, and the Ultimate Plan, the one I'm on and has been on since, I don't know, 2016 or some madness like that, for $89.99. We get five artists to promote and do whatever you want. You can actually get extra ones if you want to. So that is DistroKid. We're going to talk a little bit more about them. I've been using them forever. 2016, in fact. And of course, you know what I'm going to say. I love you, DistroKid. so very much. All right. No, but very, very thankful to have DistroKid on here sponsoring the show. As always, I'm very, very privileged to have them on board, and I'm thankful. So, not only because they sponsor, but I get to put my music out, and that is cool. Let's bring on our guest. You know him as Pete Johns. I know him as Pete Johns. He knows himself as Pete Johns. Even his wife and kids know him as Pete Johns. So bring you on. Let's talk to Pete Johns.
Sometimes I don't even know myself, but that's a whole story for another day. Hello, Jade. Hello, party people. How are you all doing today? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Pete. I always look forward to these shows because we just get to talk nonsense for 2 hours and possibly bore people crapless. But that's what we do, don't we?
Yeah, and I love it because I can say stuff and usually not get in trouble because I'm not on my own channel. So unlike my channel where I get community guideline strikes for showing the cricket, I can just come here and relax for a couple of hours.
That's what I do here. I provide a space for other creators to come here and say whatever they want, and I just take the fall for it because everybody knows I'm just a foul-mouthed Aussie. Hang on, so are you.
Yeah,
just
true.
Not on YouTube, right?
I just pretend to not be. That's right.
Exactly.
I mask my true persona that only a few people get to see behind the scenes.
Totally. We're talking about the death of trust. Now, if you don't know what I mean by that, we're going to name and shame and discuss corporations that continuously let us down, where they should be doing really, really good things, yeah? That's what we're going to talk about. We have a big list of companies. We're going to talk about their market share. We're going to get deep, real deep. All right, real deep. I don't even have the effect working. But first, for some of you who may not know who this guy is over here, we have to do the elevator pitch challenge, Pete, where you get 60 seconds on the clock to sit there and tell you, well, I don't know, it could be 60 seconds, it could be 30. It's whenever you hear this sound, your time is up, all right? So I'm going to put the camera on you, and you can tell all the good folk just who the hell you are. Ready? And I blow the horn. Go.
Hi, I'm a venture capitalist and day trader. I'm passionate about building companies and making startups really shine. No, my name's Pete Johns. I'm a creator, a music artist, and my goal is to help you folks create, record, and release your best music. I do that on my channel, Studio Live Today, and I do it through tutorials and live streams and just putting the love out there into the world. So I'm the opposite of the companies we're going to talk about here. I'm all about you and not about me. And yes, if you're wondering, I do have a slight leaning towards the lefty hippie side of things, which is what we'll be discussing.
I love it. Awesome. Thanks for that. So we'll do some shout outs in a second, everybody. Let's start off with, now I've broken everything up into categories. We're starting with social media because here we are on social media, and here we are on YouTube, which is owned by our good friends, our very good friends, our employees, actually. Google, Alphabet. First, we're going to start off, like before we discuss any of these companies, we're going to look at this first. Just how much is Google worth right now? There's not enough to go round, obviously. So,
what is it? Do no evil. Yeah, says the $5 trillion company.
So there we go. That is Google. They are worth $5 trillion. Now we use them. Look, we use them all the time. A lot of us have Gmail accounts. We search Google still, and get results that are increasingly getting less and less. And basically here on YouTube, you know, they employ us. Remember when they used to be, their slogan was something about
Don't be evil.
Don't be evil, I think it was.
Yep.
So what went wrong, Pete?
Yeah. Google, Alphabet, YouTube, all the companies, they're an interesting one because they have really taken they've done the ride of I jokingly said that, I'm all about startups and getting exits and no, but that's kind of where all this came from, except they were on the flip side of that. They were the ones buying up the companies. If you look at everything that Google's done, they've basically bought it up. They've bought up YouTube. And early on, things like Gmail and Google Drive and things were actually made in-house. So Google, the story of Google, if you didn't know, is that they used to have this policy where it was, yep, do no evil. And then they would have this really sort of liberal policy with their employees that they said 80% of the time you do what we say, but 20% of your time you get to work on cool, fun new projects. And that can be whatever you want. And that's where Gmail came out of. That's where Google Drive came out of. That's where a lot of the coolest Google related features came out of, was people being given the freedom to do what they want. Alas, that has flipped on its head. And in the last sort of 5 years in particular, Google have kind of changed the way they're doing things now. And as we've seen with YouTube, that's just one of their little arms. It happens to be one of their bigger ones now. And Google have gone from being a search company, and it's pretty clear now that they are an ad company. So Google are all about the ads in 2025.
They sure are. And sorry, I'm just going to have to flick this back. Sorry.
I'll just do a little dance while I'm big on the screen.
Can you just entertain everyone? I just did something wrong. Hang on, there we go. All right, that's better. That's better.
Good.
It was my fault. I did something really stupid there, and I've gone somehow into studio mode on OBS. There we are. We're back.
Yay. That's all right. Yeah. I'm ready for my close-up, Jay.
No. You know what it was? I fixed your camera on one screen but didn't fix it on the other. So
and look, it was my fault. Behind the scenes, it was actually my fault, because I arrived literally 2.5 minutes prior to show start time. So you can throw me under the bus, just like we're throwing all these companies under the bus. And look, for fairness, by the way, what I should have said up front is these are my own personal opinions and do not reflect the values of Jade Starr or the Jade Starr Music Corporation. But yeah, like it's weird, because most of these companies we're going to talk about, I actually loved and still love in some ways and still use. So I know that the leaning is you're a giant hypocrite, Johns, because Google pay about 20% of your salary every month. And you're right, they do. And I do appreciate that, because let's be honest, I say this every time with YouTube and Google, this stuff used to cost a fortune. For us to do a live stream to literally tens, hundreds of people here every day, every week, every month, that used to cost, that bandwidth costs a lot of money, and that's where Google spend a lot of their money. The reason they have to run ads isn't just because they want to make your experience bad. They do. We'll talk about that later. But it's because they need to cover the cost of actually running these services, and they're not free. When you sit there and you click your button and you watch your show, you're probably not thinking about all the servers whirring in some server farm in outback Texas that's actually feeding and serving all up. There's literally a little room on fire right now. Not to make you feel guilty or anything. You should shut down right now. Stop watching this show immediately. Exactly. But there's a lot of servers being used to serve you up this content, because it's a full resolution high stream video. It's coming out at megabytes a second. So yeah, there is that side of it, and that's why they're an ad company, because they got to make the coin.
Yeah, of course. Money doesn't grow on trees, or does it? I don't actually know. Well, it used to, but now it doesn't. It's all plastic. Look, the thing is, the Google have had a lot of mistakes in their time as well. A lot of failed projects which have sucked. Yep. Like we tend to think about the things that are popular that are still doing well. Like obviously Gmail's doing really good. Search is way iffy these days. YouTube's killing it still, but they seem to there's so many Google products, even within Gmail. I think they've released like 10 different things in Gmail that they thought were really cool. And
Google Plus, anyone?
Google Plus was, when it first came out, I was into Google Plus. It was something different, but it just was a wasteland. And, they flogged it as hard as they could. And then they just gave up for the last couple of years, and it was just boom. But even email, they had like these little side conversations you could have, little group things in email, which was so annoying. And it really cluttered up Gmail so much and made it so much worse. I mean, the thing is too with I think most of us have a Gmail account. I don't know what I would do without it, because it kind of works.
We'd pay for email. This is the thing, and I'm starting to dislike the if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. I mean, it's true, but it's not the whole story with a lot of these things. But you do need to pay for things, and when something is given to you for free, it is usually ad supported or it is data supported. So you're giving up something. You're giving up some data or you're giving up your eyeballs and ear holes by watching and listening to ads at the same time. So the alternative of this stuff is paying full tote odds. And if you've checked out things like Fastmail, yeah, you want to pay $20, $30 a month for an email service, or you pay nothing a month and you get Gmail and you get gigabytes of storage and you get the ability to email people from there. And yeah, it is very strange. And the history of Google is actually really interesting that they try things that they do. I think you do have to kill off things that aren't working. And it's really important. You and I know this. You throw stuff at the wall, you see what sticks. And if something sticks there nicely, you keep doing it. If it slides down and becomes a puddle on the floor, you quickly dust it off and try something new. So, and the weird thing is, what we're doing right now, there was something called Google Hangouts on Air, which was Google's first live streaming platform. It was StreamYard before there was StreamYard. It was Ecamm before there was Ecamm. What did they do? They put no development time into it, and then they canned it and replaced it with the new Google Meet, which gives you 1 hour and is way worse. So when I first started doing this, myself and Mike, the very first live stream that I did with Mike from Creative Source was Google Hangouts on Air, and it worked beautifully. And if they just push forward with that, imagine Google could own the live streaming and integrate it into YouTube. Forget about it. Just call it YouTube Hangouts on Air. Make it like StreamYard, but you don't pay for it. You just use your Google account. And how much more easy and integrated would it be? So am I saying I'm smarter than a $5 trillion company? Yes, I am. Thanks for asking.
Yes. Yeah. I always when I blame somebody in the corporate world, I always have this image of some dude with a ponytail who's really irritating and sits and they're at a corporate meeting and they go, Robert over here with the ponytail, he's got some really good ideas. And he stands up and every idea is just dog shit. And so I always just blame fictitious Robert.
Yep, it's like, hi, I'm Robert. I worked for McKinsey for 10 years and I've got some bold new ideas. What we're going to do, is we're going to fire 20% of the workforce and then funnel that 20% of funds into bonuses for the executive level. What do you think, guys? And they're like, Robert.
How much money do we make? So on Google...
That is only slightly exaggerated, by the way. I've worked for companies that have got consultants in that have done exactly that. They come in and they're like, we know better than you. And what is their solution? It's always cut 20% of the staff. And
Absolutely.
Then just do the same shit.
Yep. And before we go on, me and Pete have worked in very corporate companies. I worked at American Express for a very, very long time. And even for a company called Beyond, which is a huge television network, for National Geographic and all these big things. So we kind of have seen this stuff happen. I'm just going to tell this story about Robert, the fictitious Robert. I lived in this place here in Melbourne called Ashburton, and they had a public town meeting, and they said, we need to come up with a name for Ashburton, something that pops, that people who walk through the small shopping centre go, wow, Ashburton is a really good place to be, even though it doesn't even have a train station. Awesome. And this guy with a ponytail that they hired came in, and his idea was Ashy. We'll call it Ashy. And he came up with an idea to create these stickers of a footprint. Ashy the footprint. I mean, it all makes sense to me. And they just stuck these stickers of feet all the way through the shopping centre and put them on windows going, Ashy eats fish and chips here. Ashy does his banking here. Fuck me. And I remember seeing it going, how much did they pay that guy for this? It is so shit.
Well, sadly, someone who worked for the sales marketing team of one of the largest energy companies and therefore polluters in the country. I was privy to how much we paid for those things because I was looking at the budgets and having to pay the bills, and it's a lot. The ideas that they come up with, and every time you watch an ad on TV, just stop and think to yourself. Think of Robert in the room saying, "Okay, guys, I got the best idea. We get a bunch of kids, they dance around pretending to play instruments. attachments and they go 1877 cars for kids, really annoying for 30 seconds. And then everyone will want to donate their cars. And then people are like, that sounds like the worst idea ever, Robert. And then he's like, goes to the CEO and he's like, oh, but I've got this idea. And he's like, you're a genius. And he hands over a comically sized bag of cash and he goes back to McKinsey, a happy man.
He runs out the door. It's all happy.
Yes, he puts on his mask and puts on the stripy suit with the bag of cash.
So
I've done it again.
He
Damn you, Robert.
He moonlights as the Hamburglar, everybody. That's his. So while we're on Google, we got to talk about YouTube because, hey, you know, there's a lot of things going on with YouTube. Who knows what is real and what isn't because, you know, we have, again, mouthpieces that have a YouTube channel. I love Rene Ritchie, but he is now a mouthpiece for YouTube. And we get told these snippets of, hey, great things are coming and all these things are coming. And that, meanwhile, all these things disappear and all these things come for a day and then they go. And you're like, I remember only a year ago when you would get an option saying, hey, you want to try this feature? And I go, okay, we'll try that. And you try it for a little bit. Now they just change shit and then just change it back. Even the littlest thing. I don't know if you're getting this, anyone else is getting this. Currently in Creator Studio, when I go to Creator Studio, there used to be a search bar up the top where I could just type in, look for something within my videos. It's obscured now and it disappears. It just vanishes. And I have to refresh the page for it to come back. And then it disappears in a second if I don't tap. Why? Like, what?
And that's, you know, not to labour, but I know we've got lots of other companies to talk about and folks to say hello to. But like, I think that the real epitome of this is, if you remember Google Gmail when it first was released, how many years was it in beta for? It was at least 5 or 6 or 7. It was a long time. It was Gmail beta edition. And they took it really, really slowly. They had incremental changes. They made sure it was secure and that it worked. And you could opt into these additional features that they were adding along the way. And if it wasn't perfect, they didn't launch it. Then we had the move to agile framework where it's all about minimum viable products. It's all about trying things in the wild. And this is where we're at now. We are the beta testers of products that don't have beta on them, but they're actually alpha products. They're actually products that have been developed by an agile. And if you haven't worked in an agile environment, you're very, very lucky. But agile environment basically just means instead of the old waterfall where you just work on a project step by step, make sure it all works and then deliver it, you do a little bit of it and throw that out there. And then when it breaks, you fix that and then you throw another little bit out. When that breaks, you fix that. And it's just code upon code upon code and it's a mess. Anyway, I don't love agile. But yeah, that's what they're doing now. And if you think about the beta years, it was the exact opposite. They were taking it slow. They were only implementing things that they thought. They were still trying things. But like you say, you could opt into the experimental stuff. But if you didn't want to, you just got a product that worked, that didn't change every week. And that's the big difference. And why are they doing it? It's because number go up, because they're beholden to shareholders now. They've changed don't be evil to don't let the market cap drop and the share price drop. And that's the end of it.
In brackets, don't give a fuck. Let's say hello to folks. Please, folks, type something so I can find you because I don't get much space to look through people, but I'll do my best. We got Doug Kidder in the house, Pole Vault, Mills Gamer, we got Dell, Joe Glenn, we got Fat Panda Cat, Les Nagy, hello, Rhodey, we got Hugh Caldwell, Michael Zedland. Who else do I say? I saw Jenny, I saw Leela, there's Thomas. Thanks, Thomas, for all you do. Dave Bops, Sean Chandler. There's a lot here I'm actually getting through the list. Audible Video, hello. Where are we? Who else? Pete Johnson in the chat. Gordon Lee Weaver, hello to you. Anyone else I can see on this before I run out of space? No, it's all I've got now. So everything else down below, I'll call you out. Jenny, I got you. I think I got most people. If I've missed you, I've missed you.
Speak up. Say good day.
Yeah, and I'll come back and we'll do a circle around as I see new people come in and all that. Thank you for joining us and all that jazz. Let's move on because we've got a lot of companies here to go through. Let's talk about this one. Everybody's favorite. It is Facebook. Yay, Facebook. Facebook Meta. What are they worth? $2.4 trillion.
Trillion. You got to do the Dr. Evil finger thing. $1 trillion.
$1 trillion. There you go. Facebook is worth $2.4 trillion. They are in cahoots with things like WhatsApp. They are also Instagram. They are Facebook. Man, I'm going to start with WhatsApp, because WhatsApp was just... It was my go-to for a very, very long time, especially like traveling. It was always handy, reliable, no ads, no nothing. I could just speak to people, have long calls, send those really long voice messages. I have a friend who I send the voice messages sometimes go for 50 minutes. You don't want to be on the end of one of those, trust me. And it was so good. And then all of a sudden, Facebook took it over and just went, you know what? We're going to put fucking ads in it. And it was like, what? You gotta be kidding. No, please don't do that. So yeah, Facebook, I mean, what can you say about it? To me, Facebook was the death of the internet. I'm just saying it as it is. MySpace will always hold a place in my heart. It was where my music career kind of kicked off again, and I got all these gigs through MySpace. I was touring the country. I was going overseas through MySpace. I had like 100 and something thousand fans, and it was killer. And then Facebook just came along and just killed MySpace, and now we have Facebook, which is this bland, horrible, ugly landscape where they continuously move shit around. Like apart from how manipulative they are and all of the things that they've done with like putting stuff in feeds that continuously keep people depressed, and they've been caught for that. Like, this isn't news. But just the audacity of it being also bland and boring and all the same, they've homogenized every single thing. I haven't even spoken about ads. I mean, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but going through the feed at the moment, do I have any friends? It's just ads for gear and software. Just that's all it is. It's fucked.
Yep. Yeah. Look, I have a soft spot for Facebook. Like, I thought that when Facebook actually started, it was good. I know it's weird. Go on record as saying someone that actually liked Facebook. But in 2007, 2008, Twitter had just started. And at that point, Twitter was just text messages between you and your friends. And Facebook had started, and it was just a website you go to. And it was like, I don't know if anyone remembers, like classmates.com. So to me, Facebook was like, it's like classmates.com. You basically just reconnect with all the old people from your high school that you didn't like then and that you still don't like now.
Yes.
But I actually found it really useful because I had a group of friends, some diverse friends. Some lived here in Adelaide, some were in other parts of the country, and then some were in other parts of the world. And it created like one unified communication platform. So for all the bad that it does do and will do in the future, it was actually cool. The same thing, like when I had young kids, I could put up all the baby spam and put all that all over, and then people like my aunties and uncles and mum and dad and grandparents could jump in there and they could see what's going on. And look, just the other day, I was chatting with someone. Look, it was Jenny. I'll say it was Jenny. And she was talking to me about her dogs. And I'm like, oh, what are your dogs like? And she's like, oh, there's pictures. And I went to Facebook and found pictures of her beautiful dogs.
Yeah.
So there's good stuff here.
Sure.
But what have Facebook done? They've lost. Same with Google. They lost their laser-like focus. They got distracted by the acquisition of other companies like WhatsApp and like Instagram. They got distracted by doing what YouTube's doing now, trying to be like everyone else. So instead of going, we dominate the groups, like Facebook groups, I still think are pretty solid. They do a decent job of what they do. And we dominate, just hanging out with your friends and having conversations and sharing things that you're doing with your family and friends. But no, they don't want that. They want videos. They want short videos. They want real videos. They want vertical videos. They want you to integrate. They want to put ads in there that confuse you. They want to change the feed to an algorithmic feed instead of a friend feed. So you never know what you never know. The original purpose of Facebook was to keep in touch with friends who you can't keep in touch with, because otherwise you have to pick up your phone and ring everyone you know every day. What are you doing today? Instead, you can be like, oh, my friend Marty went to see AC/DC live the other night. That's pretty rad. That's missing now because you don't get that. You get all the ads for weird products, and and now that I'm in my elder years, the ads are getting weirder, man. I'm telling you. Like, it used to be for fun things, and now it's ads for. Are you a bald fat loser? Take our bald fat loser pills. I'm like, oh, thanks, man.
Is that what you get?
And the less that we can say about the metaverse and that whole switch to doing that and then switch back, and now it's all AI. So, yeah, Facebook are like that friend that every year you talk to them, like once a year, and they're always into something new, and it's always whatever's cool. And then you talk to them the next time, and they're like, "Oh, no, I'm not into Bitcoin anymore. That was a fad. Now I'm all about AI." So yeah, that's Meta are the company version of that, of a distracted teenager.
The one thing that really super irritates me is the way they move stuff around and don't tell you, right? They're the worst. They've been.
Yep.
All right, we're just moving this setting over here, and we're moving this over here. And you know what? The thing is, it's the frequency they do it at, right? If it was like once a year, they kind of move stuff around, but it's every update that comes out. Every single day, they move stuff around. They do it on purpose. Birthdays are the worst, right? For the longest time, I could never find birthdays. Right? Where are people's birthdays? It's a pain in the ass because you got to do the birthday thing and say happy birthday to people because that's the one feature I love about Facebook. But the rest of it,
I took my birthday off because I got so frustrated by the whole birthday thing. You don't know where my birthday is anymore unless you know me, because it was a pain in the ass because finding it. And the other day, a true story, the other day I was looking for my own photos. So Facebook was good because I created these photo albums. So from 2007 through to a few years ago when I stopped doing it, I'd put these photo albums up. So when it was like my daughter's second birthday, there was an album in Facebook. And I don't know if you're like me, but my files are everywhere across so many different cloud storage platforms and external hard drives and things that I can't find shit. So it's actually pretty handy to go to Facebook. And I went to find my photos the other day and they were not there. I searched the entire thing. Ironically, I had to go to ChatGPT to ask it how to get to my own photos in Facebook. And what I had to do is click on my own profile and then go into photos and then go into albums like a freaking stalking lurker. And it's like, what the hell is with this? Why can't I access my photos from my interface on Facebook? I used to be able to do this. And then the other day, my dad was trying to change his password. So do you know how many levels of menus you have to go into to get into password? It's probably the most common thing that people need to do. It should be like settings, password. But no, it's settings, security, privacy and security, two-factor authentication, then password. It's like 5 levels deep. And it's just,
Of course, like deleting your account. Good luck finding that.
No, and again, we're not talking about this much today, but it's the dark patterns. These companies are very big. They've understood exactly. And if you don't know dark patterns, it's when you've ever gone to cancel something like I want to quit the Netflix, and you go in there and there's a big button that says, yeah. So you want to cancel? It's like yes. I want to stay with Netflix. You're like, wait, no, you've given me a reverse negative positive. There's little tiny grayed out text below that's like, no, I'm a coward and I want to leave. And you have to click that one. It's like, are you really sure that you suck? Because we're awesome and you're a little piece of shit. And then you're like, no, I'll press the I'm a piece of shit button, please. And then it's like, whoa, you're not a very tough man anymore. It's not that bad, but it's kind of close. But yeah, the dark patterns they have is basically to keep you locked in, keep you scrolling, keep you doom scrolling that infinite feed and doing nothing. They don't want you to change password. In fact, if you can't get in, they'll just send you an email. They don't want you to change your password at all. Absolutely. They don't want you to spend 5 seconds doing anything but looking at your feed and your ads.
The last thing on Facebook before we move on to the next one is if you're in a group, I'm just going to put this out there, and especially you guys in music groups, GarageBand users group, Pete's group, my group, any of the groups that you're in that to do with music, you may have noticed if you're posting links to your music on Facebook and you're putting a link out to YouTube, it's going to spam in all the groups because their amazing AI feature, you can't turn off at all. It just continues to do it. Your videos aren't getting posted. Why? Because Facebook want to keep you within Facebook. So I'm going to tell you now the trick because I'm getting sick of having to do this every day. You're probably getting sick of it too. Upload a photo and then the link. In Facebook, in any of the groups, upload an image of your video and then add the link, right? And it won't go to spam because every time you just upload the link and you think, oh, look, it's putting a fancy picture of my video and all that, it is going into spam. And all the groups are having to, and a lot of moderators don't check the spam because they don't even know this change has happened. But it's a real pain in the ass.
And as a moderator, there is no like you say, there's no button that's just don't do this anymore. Yep. You have to either go in and manually approve everyone or the only way to do it is to make people a moderator. And I know that some YouTube channels and some other places have done this where like, everyone's a moderator. I couldn't think of anything worse than having everyone moderating because, it takes one turd in a giant pool to make the pool unswimmable.
True. Let's talk about this company, but not much. Can we talk about this one? A very little. X.
And that's all I got to say about
And
that.
X sucks. All right, let's move on. X is a toilet. Hang on. We'll do a sound effect for X. All right, let's move on. X is horrible and it can go suck a bag of dicks.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep, let's talk about music. Music stuff. And of course, we're going to talk about Spotify. Because Spotify, it's a beautiful place. It really is. I'll tell you what, for those of you who really want to get an idea about Spotify, how it was born and how it got to this terrible place that it's in right now, if you got Netflix, open it up, type in Spotify in the search bar. There is a fantastic 6-part television series that was made. They've buried it within Netflix as well. They don't want you to see this Spotify, right? Go and watch it. It shows how the major labels came together to birth this demon that we currently have called Spotify. It is super fascinating, and you will see some parallels that are happening with AI at the moment, and the record labels, again, conspiring to dominate that space, which we're going to talk about in a second, but very interesting stuff. I forget what it's called. It's called the Playlist. That is what the show is called. Very recommended watching, and you will be sitting there seething watching it like I was. I hate you. Pete, tell us about Spotify. Why is it so cool?
Yeah, look, Spotify was built by business bros, by money bros. Like the people that actually built it was a combination of the record labels and venture capital and the exact bros that I pretended to be at the start of this show, which is people that are into startups, that are into exit strategies, that are into money, that are into capitalism. Now, look, the argument there is that, yeah, there you go. Only a measly $196 billion market cap.
That's all.
But yeah, and recall, Spotify have only just started making money. And Daniel Ek has only just been able to start funneling funds into AI warfare, which is his true passion.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry.
So good. So
I was about to make
man.
a potentially, what's that thing where you get defamatory statement?
Yeah.
I'm not going to. I'm simply going to say, that is a choice. That is a decision. And it kind of goes to exactly what my problem is with Spotify. It's not so much because you could say that Warner and Universal and Sony, they've always been about the money. Like Sony, all the big labels have never really cared about the music. They've always been run by people that want to make a profit. The whole music industry, since the payola days of the radio days of the 50s and 40s and 60s and 70s, right through the Rock FM, Black Thunders are out to get you, through radio, through records, through tapes, through CDs, through iTunes and through streaming. It's all been about how do we monetize music. And Spotify is no different. The difference and the reason I hate this is that they pretend they're not.
Yes.
And I don't care. You can be a capitalist. You can say, hey, I want to monetize this and I want to make money. That is fine. But if you wrap it around, and then use that deliberately around things like Spotify Wrapped and the community, and oh my God, it's all about playlisting, and oh, we've got so many great people, and you're going to feel warm and comfy and cozy, and all your friends are sharing songs, and all your friends' playlists, you can listen to them. That's just bullshit. And I don't like being lied to. I don't like the bullshit. And unfortunately, I think one of the things that's happened recently is that our bullshit detectors, our critical thinking skills have been numbed. And it's not really our fault. It's the fact that we have been absolutely bombarded with misinformation and with incorrect information that you got two choices, really. You either just blindly close your eyes, shut your ears, do the see no evil, hear no evil thing and follow it and just accept it at face value, or you become a hardened, grisly old cynic like me and just think no one is ever telling you anything true ever. There's got to be a happy medium somewhere in between there, and I'm searching for it right now. If you know how to get there, folks, please tell me. But that's where I'm at the moment. And unfortunately, the people who I talk to that defend Spotify, and look, if you are using Spotify right now, you pay your $12 a month and you're enjoying it, you know what, more power to you. I'd be a giant hypocrite because I use Amazon, I use eBay, I use Google, I use Meta products, I use all of the ones we're going to talk about here today. So I get it. And you might have a whole great, amazing playlist, amazing library, amazing group of friends on Spotify, and you really enjoy it. But you also have to, at the same time, appreciate that you are funding a business that is making a profit and you choosing to spend that profit in bad. And look, every company is doing that too. This is not Spotify dependent. You could say Apple Music, you could say YouTube Music, you could say Deezer, you could say Tidal. Some are more focused on the artist than others. And I would argue that Spotify are the least artist focused, which is weird because their whole thing is Spotify for artists. I think it should be Spotify for money, and that should be the name of the app. And that's it. Sorry, that was a giant rant, but hey, that's the name of the show. So I'll pause and let you have a rant now, Jade.
No, look, I've never really got into Spotify. It's more than just the shit that's, we've talked about already. It's just, I find it an ugly interface. I find it hard to manage and move around it. I don't like it. I don't want to have all my music in fucking playlists. I just find it, I like albums and I just want to listen to albums. I don't want to listen to singles. I like albums, man. And that's it. That's my biggest peeve with them, really, above anything else. They suck. He's sending money to create warfare, and that stuff sucks. And the AI stuff is pretty terrible. What they're doing, promoting all that AI stuff, and ultimately we see the writing on the wall with them. The only time they've ever made profit is when they actually started to promote AI music, which is generated obviously in their own house, and that's it, because it's costing nothing. And that's the trend that we're going down. And look, you mentioned it too. I think I did a rant previously on the music industry. This isn't new. They've always tried to take the artist and suck the living everything out of every single artist they can. There's even back in the days when jukeboxes were only invented, not for your enjoyment out at a pub or anything. They were invented to collect data so they could force music onto you in the charts. Like the mob used to be involved with the music industry. There is a long, dark, evil history of record labels and the music industry being just vile and just trying to throw away artists, and AI is just perfect for them at this taking, which brings us to, of course, the music labels, the main three. Well, there's only three left, isn't there? There's UMG, Sony, and Warner. And if you have been following the news, folks, massive stuff went down this week. And so let's show you. Universal went from suing an AI company, which is Udio, to partnering with them and what it means for artists. And I say artists loosely because the interesting thing is I've been watching this in real time, and all of these generative people using Udio saying, I've spent 18 months making music and now I can't download my music anymore. This is a crime to musicians. Listen, fuckwit. I hate to fucking tell you, if you had to spend 18 months learning how to make music, you would have been better off, but you wasted it prompting. So that is the case. Now, we are in a world at the moment. I'm just going to put this out here. We are in a terrible world because the next thing, the lawsuits, we did a show about this last year, Pete. We talked about what was coming. We said it. We put it out there. It's happening. The labels don't give a fuck about us. They only give a fuck about taking these AI generative companies and getting their artists in there and them getting their foot in so they control the space. And that's what's happening. The lawsuit with Suno is going to go down. They're going to do the same thing. There's going to be the same agreement go down. Suno will be in the same position as Udio. Why? Because guess what's coming? OpenAI are going to sign a deal with all three labels, and they are going to be the #1 generative company, OpenAI. It's in the works and it's coming very, very soon.
It's and again, it's hard for me to not get angry. I am angry about this sort of stuff, but to me it's so obvious and has been for some time. And look, I didn't know. I'm not going to be, I knew generative AI was coming 10 years ago. No, I didn't. But I knew that whatever greedy companies can do to increase their market cap and share price, they will do. And Cory Doctorow, it's the first time I'm going to say, 45 minutes in, the enshittification of the entire internet and just business in general is quite astonishing how far it's come.
Yep.
We're at the point now where companies don't really care about the products they're selling or the services they're selling. They don't really care about their employees. They've proven that time and time again through all the redundancies and layoffs that have happened, not only with COVID, but ever since. Jobs being replaced by AI because they want to make more money. And the problem is that we are part of the problem. So, and I've said this before, that you can get on your high horse like I do and rage against capitalism and talk about the greedy billionaires and trillionaires, But the vast majority of those funds, yes, there's the exceptions, which is the 0.1% that are actually the Elons and Sam Altmans of the world, the app and who's the other dude, Bezos. So there's those people, but the vast majority of those funds are actually going in to companies whose shares are owned by hedge funds and pension funds and superannuation funds. That you and I, if you've got a retirement account, if you've got a superannuation account, if you've got an investment account, you are investing in these things. You are actually benefiting and profiting. If you're getting any sort of return from a bank interest, if you're getting any sort of return from an investment fund, if you're getting any sort of return from your retirement savings, you are benefiting from this same stuff. So it's weird that like Joe in Pennsylvania is shaking his fist at the bad government. Meanwhile, he's pumping all of his savings into his pension fund that are actually funding the bad things that he's seeing are happening. And I don't think we sort of shine the light on that enough, that it's not just this small little thing. It's this massive thing. There you go. Look at Universal Media Group go. Only 75 billion.
Only 75 billion. What? So we'll do this here. Live Sony. Sony, here we go. Sony. Only 262 billion only. And who's the last one? Warner. And remember, the thing is, we talk about Warner. Which one is it? Look, there's so many. Warner Music Group. Remember, they're in television. I mean, they own everything now. 23. So that's because everything's split with Warner, right? They got television, they got movies, they got all the stuff. They really are dominating this space. I mean, we are at the point, like we are heading, Pete, to this point where one company is going to run everything soon.
Well, yeah, look, we've been talking about, late stage peak capitalism coming and happening. And as Michael in the chat says, look, this is not new. This is nothing new.
Absolutely.
The difference is that before sort of the 80s, the company, like back in the Warren Buffett kind of investment days, the idea was company made a product or service. They delivered that product or service well to their customers by supporting their staff that were actually working on the product. They made a profit because they could make the product, they could make widgets for $5 and sell them for $10, and then they could pay their staff $3. The company made $2, 20% profit. They're happy. Everyone's good. It's all cool. The problem we have now is that we have companies making nothing tangible. The service or the product is nothing tangible. The market cap values it at 10, 50, 100 times what the actual value of the products and services being made are. They're doing whatever they can to strip and reduce the costs of the employees, the labor to actually serve, and they're shafting the customers with terrible products and services at the other end. And the reason they can do this is that the whole enshittification thing is they lure you in by giving you, it's like Uber. Think of Uber. When Uber first came out, you're like, wow, I can catch a taxi, but just with a shady, unqualified, unchecked dude. But I can catch a taxi for like half the price. I can get to the airport for $20 instead of 40. And then everyone shifted from taxis to Uber. And then taxis got really worried and they tried to be more like Uber. And over time, what did Uber do? They started squeezing their drivers by paying them less. They started increasing the fares. Oh, no, we're not increasing the fares. It's surge pricing.
Yeah.
There's just some surging going on around here. So now you're paying $45 for that $40 cab that you used to pay for. And you keep doing it because they've got you into this gamified system. I'm an Uber Plus member and I'm earning back 3 points every time I take an Uber. So it's the same sort of thing across think of all the products and services you use, and very few of them haven't become enshittified. I know we'll talk about some examples in a moment from our own experience.
Yes. Quickly, Suno is generating more than $100 million in annual revenue and is in talks to raise more money at a $2 billion valuation.
Yep. And that's the thing. They're not delivering $2 billion worth of products or services.
No.
Never will, but that's not the point. Because the investment bros will say it is, and then they'll make a lot of money. And then when the bubble bursts, which it will, because it always does.
Oh, it's happening.
Then it's the investors. It's the people like that go, oh, yeah, if you come in late, it's like any pyramid scheme, like any Ponzi scheme. You come in late, you are the patsy, and the people will make out. The bubble will burst. They'll leave you hanging there with the big losses, just like cryptos and NFTs and everything before it.
Indeed. AI companies, just talking about these briefly. I mean, and this is going to tie into governments, I guess, because one of the main reasons this is even happening is because our governments do not move at the pace that technology does. We have archaic laws from the early 1900s in relation to the technology that we have now. It's so ridiculous. And this is the reason why Suno and Udio and all these companies that are doing this have been able to scrape all this data and create all this music, and which is why they're being sued. It's because of government ultimately. And just quickly, the fake, the Sora videos and all that stuff that are happening at the moment, there's a reason all that stuff's out there. The governments want, well, I can only, this, of course, my opinion only, they want this out there. They want so much misinformation out there to just keep us all befuddled and not knowing what the fuck is going on. And all these videos of, I feel so bad for elderly people at this time. I feel so bad just seeing videos of a bear licking a woman's face on a veranda going, oh my God, that bear's, and the Suno logo, the Sora logo is flashing across. They just don't know, man. And it's what they're using to manipulate us now. The misinformation is just running wild.
Yeah, and look, we will talk. I know it sounds like doom and gloom and that everything's bad, but I think the reason that we do these shows is not just to get up on our soapboxes. It is a little bit and rant about what we don't like.
Clouds.
But it's to say that the answer is exactly what we're doing right now. It is constant education. I spend a lot of time talking to my kids and my parents about not what they're seeing, but why they're seeing it. And that's the thing I think we're missing is that why are you seeing this content? Why is this happening? And follow the money trail. Who's paying for this? Who is trying to make you think or do or act in a certain way? Where's that money line coming from? And if you draw a line back up and it's people that want you to think a certain way so that they get a certain outcome, that's usually the case. That's what it is. It's influence. And, we call people influencers. I would argue that you and I and, people on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube are less influencers because we're actually doing it in plain sight. The actual influencers are the people behind the scenes that are doing it in ways that are manipulative that you probably aren't even thinking about, that you just think is just, oh, that's just what happens. I just got this video on my feed because I happen to like those things. You may not even like those things. You may have only just started getting those things, and then it's trained you to like those things. It's like the mouse. It's a little piece of cheese at the end of the tunnel. You're like, oh yeah, every time I go down this tunnel, I get a little piece of cheese.
Yeah,
and you just
I like
going
cheese.
the cheese.
Oh, I love
now I'm
cheese.
hungry. Now I want to go eat some cheese.
I keep a little piece of cheese in my guitar with a cheese grater. If you've seen the new Spinal Tap movie, go and see it because the cheese jokes in it are so good.
Really? Oh, I do have to see it.
You have to see it, Pete. It's very much worth your time. What was I going to say before we move on here? I've lost my train of thought. Let's just go over here. Let's just talk about, we're moving on to shopping.
Let's go shopping.
Let's go shopping. All right. No, before we do that, let's talk about something quickly that I don't ever feel ripped off from. I don't ever have a problem with. You know why? Because in this fucking crazy world where all this shit is going on and all this nonsense every day and we're being bombarded by this stuff and governments are out of control and all this nonsense, the one thing that saves me is making music, and I know it does you too. That's why we do this. We love making music. And there's one thing that I pay for every single year that I get enough value for. And guess what it is, folks? It is today's sponsor, right? And it's DistroKid. Why? Because it's like, what, $25? And I get to have all my music out and just, I feel like I'm a rock star. I can open up any of these things like Spotify or Apple Music and see my music. And I'm going to tell you exactly why they are cool with this pre-recorded content that I have here. So let's urge, baby. This presentation is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Introducing DistroKid, your ultimate music distribution solution. For just $29.99 a year, DistroKid empowers you to release unlimited tracks on all major music platforms worldwide, including Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, and so many more. Plus, use my link distrokid.com/VIP/JadeStarr and get 7% off your first year. You'll also keep 100% of your royalties and gain access to valuable tools like instant verification on Spotify and detailed revenue analytics. Don't let your music go unheard. Join DistroKid today and take your music career to the next level. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring today's presentation. Yes, thank you, DistroKid, because you know what? You're going to see it. I love you! Anyway, that was uncomfortable, wasn't it? See, I'm such a different sponsor than you are.
But that's the beauty of it, isn't
It
it? That's
is.
the diversity. It's what makes the world go around. And again, I think, yeah, obviously we love DistroKid.
We do.
You and I both use DistroKid
Yes.
well before they started sponsoring either of our channels. And again, the thing, you can say, oh, you get paid by them to say this, Pete. Fair enough. That's cool. But if you look at their prices compared to all the other prices, and I keep telling this, like, look at your subscriptions. My YouTube Premium has gone from $14.99 to $42.99
No
in
shit.
the last 5 years.
How?
My DistroKid has gone from $39.99 to $44.99, and that's for the premium. That's the plus plan.
Yeah.
So like $45 a year, and I'm paying $43 a month for my YouTube Premium. It's a no-brainer, like, to get your music out there. And the thing I said before, where every other thing, all their stuff changes. And look, how long were we waiting for a DistroKid app?
Oh, my Lord.
A long time.
So long.
Forever.
So long.
But to their credit, they didn't just throw out a half-baked app that didn't work. They beta tested it, they made sure it worked, and it took them a couple of years, and then they put it out. And it works exactly the same as it did when they released it.
Yeah.
And you can say, oh, well, that's bad because they should be adding your features. They are adding features, but the thing is, with DistroKid, they add features, but they don't mess with, I was going to swear, but I'll save that for later. They don't mess with the things that are already working well. So if you want to use DistroKid as you get in there, you hit upload, you put your music in, and you say go, it just works. If you want to dive into all of the videos and all of the playlisting and all of the back end, all the Spotify for artists and YouTube for artists accounts, you can do that too.
Yep.
And I like it. And if you want to change your password, you freaking go account password,
It's
change
done.
password.
No shit.
Right on the front
I changed mine 2 weeks ago. It was like that. Yeah, look, for me, look, everyone knows this. I was using it way before they sponsored the channel. The thing was, I was with another company for a long time, right? Since streaming first started. And we're talking like 2013 or whatever it was then. I was, for all those years up to like 2016, paying $49 a year for an album. And I've got a lot of music, right? It was costing me like upwards $800 a year to keep all my music on there. I'm paying like 120 or something now to have all my bands. And that's just a no-brainer for me. So there you go. Let's jump over to shopping. Let's talk about shopping. And I'm going to dump this on you and talk about, you ready? Amazon.
Amazon.com, Jeffrey Bezos. So Amazon has had a history. Yes, the $4 trillion Amazon.com. So if you don't know the background of them, it's really, again, fascinating story, wanting to sell books. Like, it's very early days of the internet. Amazon, one of the first internet retail companies to sell things online, to the point where people, including myself, thought it was a bit dodgy. Like, the idea of putting your credit card into a website and then trusting that they were going to deliver you some books, it was crazy. Like, people didn't want to do it, which is weird because they were handing their credit cards over in a restaurant to some 19-year-old that's going to take it away and steal their identity. But they weren't putting it on the internet because they didn't trust the security. But Amazon started selling books, and then that worked really well. They then moved to DVDs and CDs. That worked really well. They then moved to sort of household items. That worked well. Now you can buy anything. You can buy adult products on Amazon, and you know what I mean. You can buy anything on Amazon.com. And again, full disclosure, I am an Amazon affiliate where I have a gear guide that has links to Amazon. I buy a lot of my stuff on Amazon. Do I feel great doing it? Usually not, but it is, for all the things I'll say bad about it, it works. Like, it is actually, I have less problems with Amazon. And when people buy things, like, they'll be like, oh, but I can get it from dodgybrothers.com for like $2 less. And I'm like, yeah, but Amazon, if you have a problem, you can return it. If you have a problem with the payment, you can, like, question it. Like, if you pay someone random, you don't get all that. So Look, more recently, have Amazon become shitified? Yes, the Amazon Basics brand is basically copying artists and copying manufacturers that are making products,
It's
and they're
weird,
making
that
their
whole
Amazon version.
story. Yeah.
So that's a problem. They're obviously pushing down on the cost for people to actually list. So you have to list. They're making people have to compete for that number one spot so much that we're getting a whole bunch of crap in there. If you try to search for something really common, there's like 1,000 responses. And if you're not on that first page, forget about it. No one's clicking the second page of Amazon. So as a seller, on the seller side of things, it's actually pretty bad. If you've ever sold things on eBay or Amazon, it's about the buyer. So it doesn't really protect the seller very much. It protects the buyer. So yeah, look, it's good, it's convenient, it's easy. It's probably the of all the inshitified internet websites, it's the least inshitified because it still works. And as a consumer, I can still go on there, find what I want, click the button. It's actually pretty easy. And that's where they're winning at the moment on retail, is that it's easy to do it. You log in, you got one account, it's all there. Why is it bad then? Then what's so bad about it? Well, it's all those other practices we talked about before. And it's not about just bashing on the company that's winning because they do good. It's about the fact that they're doing more of the abusing of the sellers and the marketplaces and the companies that were making other products than they are the end consumer. End consumer with Amazon, we're pretty happy. Unless, of course, you're an Amazon Prime customer, in which case you got free Amazon Prime TV until suddenly you got the ad supported version. So I was watching a show on Amazon one day and then ads start popping up. And I'm like, I don't remember. Oh, okay. Instead of you adding an ad free tier cheaper, you gave me ads and then added an extra price for me to turn off ads. So they obviously weren't making enough money on their Amazon Prime TV. So they gave you an option. I can pay an extra $10 a month if I want no ads now. So that's my main gripe with Amazon. What about you, Jade? Your history with Amazon?
I'm not really an Amazon user. Now, I thought we've discussed this before. I use eBay, and that's always been my thing. And there's a reason. I find eBay a lot easier to use. I like the app, and it has Afterpay. Amazon does not have Afterpay. For those of you who don't know, I think most countries now have versions of Afterpay. It's that whole thing where you don't have to have a credit history. You buy something, you pay over 8 weeks, so it gets split up into fortnightly payments, and that's how I buy all my stuff, right? Because, I'm not making a great living. But you spread it all out. And unfortunately, Amazon doesn't have that. If it did, I would probably use it way more often. But that's the main thing I don't use it for. I've watched a whole bunch of documentaries on what you said about the essentials. It's very dodgy how they are pushing up. They're basically stealing designs and pushing their own products up as first
They're the
view.
Behringer of retail.
They are the Behringer of retail. I've bought stuff off eBay. Unfortunately, like the other thing too, we have to talk about in Australia, this is specific to us, we don't have the buying power, the stock that America has or the UK. We are still, building Amazon warehouses. We only just got one recently built near me, which is kind of out in the sticks. So there's a lot of stuff you go to buy you can't get here, and you've got to have it come in from overseas. And now tariffs and that make it even harder because of all that shit. So it's not as you don't have as big a market selection here in Australia, in my opinion. But the delivery is super cool. The refunds, all that's really cool. Hello to Deep Gravity and Jamie Lynn and anyone else, Russ, who's just popped in as well. If I've missed you. I hate to do that, but I'm trying to watch as we go. But yeah, I use eBay. Why? Because the subscription is $5 a month. To me, that's crazy. And all the stuff, there's always something a month that I end up buying, especially cables and stuff, where as a eBay user, I get there's always a massive discount, 25% off this thing. And I always save at least $10 or more off what I'm buying. I don't get yes, I joined Amazon for a bit, but I just didn't see the savings because most of the stuff I want, I have to import. And I don't know, I'm an impatient bitch. I want stuff yesterday. So eBay's better for me. That's it. Jeff Bezos is a prick. There's no denying that. He's a mad scientist. He's crazy and he likes dicks or rockets, sorry. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, yeah, and eBay is like Georgie has an eBay premium, my wife has an eBay premium, and I have Amazon Prime, so we're kind of covered. We'll always do the quick check. So if I'm buying, especially sneakers, like I go through a lot of, I do a lot of walking, so I go through a pair of sneakers about every 2-3 months, and I'll just go and I'll go New Balance men's 10.5
New
black.
Balance.
I don't really care because like yeah, I'm an old man. I wear New Balance. I'll search that on Amazon, and then I'll search it on eBay, and if it's slightly cheaper on eBay, I'll like Georgie, buy me these shoes. So yeah, you can utilize it as a consumer. You can benefit from this sort of stuff. And I will say, if you are responsible like Jade and you will make your payments, paying for techniques work fine. If you are paying late, that is how they make their money.
Yes.
So they're actually they're predatory companies. And if you want to use and abuse their predatory practices to benefit you, do that. But by all means, never be late on those payments. If you're going to buy something for $400, you're going to pay $100 a fortnight over 8 weeks. Make sure you have that $100 a fortnight, because think about the business model there. The only way they make money is when you don't pay on time.
Absolutely.
So if you don't have the ability to pay on time, or the discipline to make sure you pay on time, and look, this is why Afterpay and PayPal have now got Pay in 4, so you can do the same
I've
thing
never
there.
used that. But,
No, my bank now has one. So the
Everyone's
Commonwealth
doing it.
Bank have
Yeah.
Step Pay now, which is a Pay in 4 model that you can start using. And again, if you like most like a credit card, it's the same with a credit card. Have a credit card. If you're disciplined, you can pay it off every month. Do it. But credit card companies only make money through interest that you pay when you haven't paid off your full balance, and Afterpay and all the other Pay in 4s only make money from. It's like gambling. It's the 10% of the worst consumers that can't actually afford to do it are the ones who actually fund it. So if you want to take advantage of gambling and have fun with that, and you're the 90% that can spend $50, have a good night out, go for it. And it's the same with Afterpay. If you're one of the people that can pay it off all the time, then do it. But I have to throw that warning in there, because it's actually quite predatory if you are vulnerable.
Totally,
already.
you know, and the one thing that drew me to Afterpay, how we got to, is that I didn't have to have a credit check or anything, right? And I think I've been using it since 2020, and I haven't missed one payment. And the trap is with them, right, is that like a credit card, the more you pay on time, the more credit limit they offer you. I think currently I've got 10 grand, which is idiotic, because like there's no way I can buy anything over $1,000 anyway and make those payments. I just can't do that. But then they put a limit on it of 2 grand. You can't buy anything. But yeah, the thing is, the more you pay on time with Afterpay, the more they give you these credits to shift payments. That's really cool. There's been heaps of times where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to pay that. Oh, wow, I can just come in and shift it to 2 weeks later because I've paid on time. So, but yeah, be careful, all that stuff. We're not financial people.
They're just hoping that you'll fall over one day, Jade.
Of course,
and
I'm not
they're
going
watching you closely, hoping that you will be late.
The other thing that's really interesting about it, I had a really terrible credit rating because of poor decisions in my life, right? But since using Afterpay, I'd got my credit score. I was in November, I got my credit score. My credit score's 96, Pete. And it's all because of Afterpay. It's ridiculous. So I don't know.
And again, it's just the warning is make sure that you can do it. But and it's the same with me. Like I take advantage of Amazon Prime. I pay my Amazon Prime every year. I don't love it, but I always make sure that when I look at that comparison, I'm making, if I pay the $129, I'm getting at least $200, $300, $400 a year in benefits from that. Just through the stuff I'm buying anyway, getting delivered free and getting delivered the next day. I'm impatient like you. If I normally wait until my guitar strings are literally growing stuff on them before I replace them. So if I need to buy a set of strings, I need them to come tomorrow, or I'm a health risk for my own safety. So yeah, you want stuff that's going to come quick. And look, that's got this whole problem as well on the whole next day delivery and treatment of postal workers. But that's a story for another day.
Let's talk about, because we're still on shopping. Let's talk about something homegrown. Because I watched and I know you watched this video too. There's a fantastic channel out there, folks. If you've never seen this channel, it's called Cold Fusion. It's a fantastic channel. Let me take you to it right now and show you. This is Cold Fusion. He's an Australian, and he does some really amazing work on the way the world's going, just robots, technology. And his recent video was just really good for Australians. It's the Australia's Monopoly Hidden in Plain Sight. And this is part of the reason that inspired me to do this, because he talks about in this Our unbelievable market that is so dominated by two shopping experiences at grocery stores. Groceries, I know it's a really old word. Who would have known what groceries are? Really old word. Who knew people need to eat?
I think that guy invented it, didn't he? He's like groceries. What a great word.
We have two companies here in Australia called Coles and Woolworths, and they totally dominate the market, and they're destroying Australia because of it. The things that they are doing is just vile. Not only are they killing small businesses, they're destroying farmers. They just. But their prices are cheap, apparently. And the worst thing, before I pass it over to you for a rant, the worst thing they do, both of them, is they take prices of things and they put these tags on them when you go shopping that says low everyday price. And it's not the lowest fucking price. It is definitely not. And then during the week, when they take it off there, the price skyrockets from $6 low everyday price to like $22. They are so evil, these two companies. It is just... But everyone goes there. What are your thoughts on? You go to Coles. So you shop at Coles, I shop at Woolworths. They're both the same.
Yeah, and it's like it's weird to think that I've got brand loyalty to Coles or Woolies. It's like, yeah, do I want to be kicked in the nuts or kicked in the nuts twice? I don't know. It's one or the other. But yeah, the monopoly that we have here. And look, we have other supermarkets. Forest of the Wolves mentioning Aldi. There we have Aldi now, which is a good alternative.
And
in
Costco.
South Australia, we have Foodland.
Costco's now slowly happening here in Australia as well.
Costco, yeah. So there's the whole IGA, like our Independent Grocery Association, that are actually doing good things and protecting farmers and doing things like that. So the main problem is, two companies, duopoly as opposed to monopoly.
Yes.
So the least fun game, duopoly. They're just dominating this sort of stuff. And they do that because they have the buying power. It's a bit like Amazon, same sort of deal. They have the buying power. They can go to suppliers. They have their own brand stuff that they sell wherever they can. And they make sure that that's positioned cheaper and in better spots on the aisles. This is nothing new. This is all what companies have done forever. But yeah, the problem that we have is that when you have two, it's like there is definitely no price coercion or price collusion.
No, not at all.
But if you got two gas stations, two service stations, servos, as we call them here in Australia, and they're both selling petrol for $1.69, and one puts it up to $1.79, what's the other servo going to do? Are they going to leave it at $1.69, or are they going to go, well, I might as well be $1.79 as well? If you've got no choice, if there's only two players, well, then we can both just sort of gently raise our prices and make sure that we're kind of gouging. And yeah, look, again, it's not, if they said, this is where I think truth in advertising and honesty from these companies would be so refreshing, but no one's going to do it. If they came out and said, yeah, we just want to make more money. We're owned by big corporations. So Coles is owned by Wesfarmers, and geez, if you want to go down a roller coaster, look up Wesfarmers. They own if you're an Australian,
they're demons.
You either know or you don't know, but Wesfarmers own, get this, Coles, Officeworks, Bunnings, Priceline pharmacies. The list goes on and on. And I probably, of just those four, that's about 90% of my weekly spend.
Yep.
Because I buy all my tech gear from Officeworks, I buy any hardware I need from Bunnings, and I go to Coles for my groceries. So, and Kmart to buy cheap shit, like to buy my $10 pairs of jeans that I wear because I'm such a fashion icon.
How has Kmart survived here but not in America? It's amazing.
It is. It's wacky. It's because we don't have Walmart, basically.
Yeah.
There's no Walmart, and our Target's shit. So
it's Timo Walmart, isn't it?
It's Timo Walmart, indeed. But it's cheap. It's so cheap.
It's so cheap. And they have their own home brands as well, too, kind of like Amazon. Their essentials and all that kind of stuff.
They do. They have it used to be called Home and Co.
Yeah.
And now it's called Anko. Which just reminds me of Unco. I don't know, but back in the 80s in school, if you like an insult, if you're like playing soccer, you'd be like, oh, you can't even kick it, you Unco, meaning uncoordinated. So whenever I see Anko, I'm like, I'm going to buy some Unco brand socks. What's going on here? So yeah.
Don't get me started on socks,
You know this. Before we say anything, you know the story. Without ever shopping at Coles or Woolies, you know exactly the practices they're using. You know exactly what the problem is with it. They do all the same sort of things. All the chocolates by the aisle, the fresh fruit like over to the side, so that you got to go past all the high ticket market items to get your bread and your milk. All the same sort of stuff. And yeah, it's sad and predatory. But again, like I'm part of the problem because the technology pretty good. Like we put a weekly shop in and it gets delivered to my door.
Me
Like,
too.
and it doesn't cost much more than it costs in the shop. I know it costs me a little bit more. I definitely pay a premium, but like I don't have to get in my car and spend the time and money and effort and yeah. So there is good parts of this. And to be honest, as a lefty hippie, as I talked about, it's actually better for the environment. Weirdly, the me get every individual getting in their car and driving a couple of kilometers to a supermarket and then driving back again, it's actually better for these trucks that are often a lot more efficient than my car is to just be bringing stuff around and dropping it off at people's houses and having a warehousing kind of environment. So that's my justification for why I'm a lazy prick. But it's yeah, it's the problem, and it's more. And look, you can flick it over to the airlines as well. I don't know if we have much time to talk about that, but we have two major airlines as well. We have duopolies, and we've got four major banks. Like we might touch on this briefly, but yeah, Australia is the land of the duopoly and triopoly
It's so
and quadopoly.
bad. Yeah, it's so bad at the moment. You know, and look, I shop at Woolies, and I do all my stuff online. They don't even use the Woolies trucks anymore here in Melbourne. It's all Uber. They just use Uber now, and they've jacked up the price. But I've got to say, right, this week I did a shop. Now, groceries are out of control. We all know this. It's worldwide. It's ridiculous. A block of cheese is like $11. It's so stupid. Coffee, $36. Fuck off. Cigarettes, all that shit. We know it. But I used my rewards thing this week and did all the boost rewards before I do my shop. I actually got $60 off my shop. That's. But then when you think about it, you go, yeah, but this is all just the stuff that I shouldn't be paying anyway. So there's that. Thank you, Mr. Smith, also for the gifted sub. You rock. Can I just say one thing on this? This is irritating me. Socks. Can we just talk about socks for a minute?
I would love to talk about socks.
Fucking socks, mate. Fucking socks. Why do socks get holes so easily these days? It's just me. Am I getting older and complaining about little things? But every time I buy, and I'm buying like good quality socks, and I'm only wearing them around the house. It's not like I'm out gallivanting around doing too much. Even walk with me is. But socks, fuck socks. I've had enough with socks. I bought 6 pairs of socks. About a month ago, and 2 pairs already have huge holes in the bottom. It's the bottom. It's the bottom of the socks. It's not. It's the bottom.
Not even the toes.
It's the bottom. It's the what do they call it? The front ball. The front ball, not the back ball.
You've been doing too much Tom Cruise in Risky Business slides across your floor.
Well,
clearly.
you know, when you were here, Pete, we were both doing it. That's all we did.
I got to say that this is my sock of choice. While we're pimping socks, these are the Explorers. So these are a wool sock, and they're about twice the thickness of your regular sock. They got reinforced toe, reinforced heel, and they're super duper comfy and absorbent. So Explorer socks, and you can buy them at Coles and Woolies. They often have 50% off. So don't ever buy them for full price. They're about $20 a pair, but wait for them to be 50% off, and you get them for $10 a pair. So that's my tip to you and anyone in Australia. I don't know what it's like in other parts of the world. I don't think you have the Bonds Explorers, but I had the same problem. I was going through stocks left and right, and so I switched to Explorers. And so yes, they are a sponsor of the channel now. I'm going to reach
my final message to socks. There you go. That's my final message before we move on to airlines, because airlines, man. I just want to look up Woolworths, what they're worth. Woolworths. And it's not the Woolworths that you guys used to have in the UK. Woolworths Group. Here we go. They are currently only 34 billion. That's
only 34 billion. Do you want to chuck West Farmers in there? WES Farmers.
Yeah. West Farmers. Is there a space? West Farmers.
No, it should just be West Farmers.
West Farmers. Here we go. Only 92 billion. Is that all? Yes.
And it kind of puts it in perspective, doesn't it? And that's, how I was talking about the overvaluation of stock. A supermarket can't really be that overvalued. They have to be making the profits for people to buy their shares and invest. And there's no speculation. No one thinking that Woolies and Coles and Tesco's and Walmart are going to the moon. Like, they're not going to have something that's suddenly going to 10x and 100x their value. So when you're looking at these, trillion-dollar tech companies, that just shows you not the fact that they are worth so much more than these brick and mortar. They are, but it shows the ridiculous overvaluation that the market puts on these and all the tech bros that are just trying to make as much money making hay while the sun shines. And when that bubble bursts,
Boom.
it's gonna be funny.
Oh, it's going to be. Oh, we got some big bubbles bursting soon. Let's talk now. You fly a little bit, not so much.
do.
I don't fly as much as what I used to these days, but again, the duopoly here in Australia, and I can't speak for America, so I want to hear from you guys at the end of this. We're going to throw it out to you guys with companies and stuff, so get your thinking caps on, and we're going to have you put some stuff in there. Not yet, because I'll lose it in the comments, but Qantas and I guess it's Virgin, who are the two that are dominating here. I rarely fly with Qantas when I do fly because holy shit, what I can get for even Virgin is like half the price. But yeah, I mean, I'll just bring back TNA. Is that what they're called? TAA.
Yeah,
That's what it was,
TAA and Ansett.
Not tits and ass.
Yeah, so weirdly, I've used to fly an awful lot for work, and we were a Qantas company, so you'd have to book your business travel through Qantas, and my goodness, I looked at the prices that it cost, and I was glad I wasn't the one paying for them. But I'd go out of my way to get the cheaper flights because I just couldn't justify like the $550 from Adelaide to Melbourne one way, which it was, and this is freaking 10 years ago. So it would be worse now. But we have the same problem here with airlines, and Australia has this history of new airlines. So over the years, we had Australian Airlines, Compass Airways, Tiger Airlines, Rex Airlines. Like there's been about 7 attempts. Bonza, there was one literally called Bonza that started about 3 years ago and stopped about 2 years ago.
Bonza.
Bonza.
Like you'd
And
tell
their whole thing
anybody.
was, yeah, we're Bonza, mate. We're all Australian.
Who are you flying with? A Bonza.
Yeah, I know.
I couldn't even say that.
And look, our airline industry is pretty cool. It's very safe. It is very regulated. It is very unionized. So it is better than a lot of countries. I'll give it that. That it's actually, you might actually land at the place it says on the ticket around about the time it says, without your plane crashing or anything falling off, like the door falling out or anything. Unless you're flying on Boeing, which is a whole different story. But it is a problem because we have Virgin and we have Qantas. Qantas have their budget airline, which is Jetstar, which is a bit more of the you'll get there eventually kind of airlines. Although I flew them last time we flew to Sydney a few weeks ago, and they were absolutely fine. They were fine. They were just good. But yeah, we're starting to see a lot of things with the airlines, like the whole nickel and dime you with luggage. So now when you book, you got to pay extra to have luggage. You got to pay extra now to choose your seat. You got to pay extra for meal. I remember when you'd go on a flight and you got to pick whatever seat you wanted for free. You got to pack a checked bag for free or included in your price. They gave you a meal. Like they wheeled that cart. They handed you a crappy airline meal on a plane. And look, the jokes, Jerry Seinfeld would not have a career now because there is no peanuts on a plane. There is no meal on a plane. There's nothing going on the plane. You can barely use the toilet. Jesus.
That was in the US, yesterday?
Look, it's a bit like other things that happen in the US. You could just pick anything, any day and say, oh, here's the latest. You know what I'm talking. I'm not going to say it out loud because YouTube will probably demonetize, but you become desensitized to this stuff. But yeah, it's the same problem. It's just the duopoly and the fact that even though it looks like you got choice, you actually got no choice. Like no airline, and the airlines that come in and say, oh, we're going to charge you half the price. Guess what? They can't profit from it, or they get squeezed out because the other carriers own the slots. If you know anything about the airline industry, it's all about your slots. Yes, slots. I'm going to keep saying slots. You're going to have slots at airports, and even if you're not flying a plane, you got to keep your slots so that other people can't have your slots. Slots.
Remember Tiger? Are Tiger still around? I booked a flight with Tiger once.
Tiger were around for about 5 years. I have actually a friend who used to be an airline host for Tiger, and she said that they were one of the shittest companies.
Mate, they were amazing. I booked a flight with them. I got to and they just cancelled the flight and just were like, sorry, no refund. You're just fucked. It was like, all right, okay. So there goes that entire holiday that was booked.
They were
Yay.
so small
Awesome.
and they had so few planes that the one plane that was supposed to be in Adelaide when I was flying to Brisbane didn't arrive. So it got delayed. You're like, oh, flight delay. 6 hours. So instead of leaving at 9 a.m., we left at 3 p.m. And I'm like, what do you mean 6 hours? So yeah, Georgie and I just got very, very drunk in the Adelaide airport. So it was actually a really good trip. In the end. Thank you, Tiger, for being so crap.
I do like I like the Asian airlines, Thai. A lot of those ones I've flown on. Obviously, to go to Thailand because I've gone to Southeast Asia a lot. I love those. They're always nice, and the ladies on there are very, very attractive, and the food is always good. And I've got no complaints.
Yep.
That's all. As long as they got nice people serving you, that's all I give a shit about. I don't fly enough to care.
Yeah, it could be worse. Like Fat Panda Cat saying Ryanair are 1 year from just firing you in a catapult. And it's like, yes, I know that in the UK and in Europe, like the £1 flights and the £10 flights and stuff, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. When your wings are held on with gaffer tape, I don't think I want to get on that plane.
It never is. Like you see those and go, oh, $1 flights, and you get there and it's like, hang on, when? Oh, like 2 years' time. That's pointless for me.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, $1 flight, and then you're like, that's if you come on with nothing. Like, I've seen ones where there's a carry-on fee and a checked baggage fee. And I'm like, so the only way you can fly at the price it says on the ticket is if I just walk on holding nothing? Like, who does that? Who's just raw dogging it that much that you're just like, oh yeah, I'm just rolling on here. In fact, I'm not even wearing underwear because I wanted to keep my weight down so that I didn't get charged that underwear tax that you get to pay at the gate.
Top tip: crying helps when you're at the when you're checking in and they try and charge you for extra luggage. Seriously, cry and it helps.
Oh. Yeah,
it does work. I've done it many times.
I was in tears. Well, yeah, literal tears at LAX. So we were flying back from LA. I don't know if anyone's ever flown out of LAX.
Oh,
it's an absolute nightmare
toilet, man.
at the best of times.
So bad.
So we were flying from LAX to Las Vegas, and we'd booked through a travel agent because apparently we're 150 years old, and so we didn't have the digital thing. We had paper tickets, and guess what? Airports do not want to help you with these days. Paper tickets. It's all like, oh, just scan your barcode. I'm like, we don't have a barcode. And the lady's like, oh, just punch in your confirmation code. I'm like, I did that. It didn't work. And she's like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do for you. And like, so what are you telling me? We're just stranded. We live in America now. We're stranded here forever. Like, and she's like, oh. And like the attitude. And I'm like, you are in a customer service role, lady. And it's the same, like everywhere through the airports in the US, not only the TSA, I know they yell at you all the time, you get that with the security, but everyone, the gate check agents, the people on the planes, I'm sure the pilots were just up there like swearing at them, hey, I'm flying here, get the hell out of my runway. But like it was aggressive, like not just like, oh, that's bad service, just like, why are you yelling at me? Why are you blaming me for your terrible company's service? And it's like, oh, it must just be awful. Like, again, I didn't blame the people.
Yeah.
They obviously probably get underpaid, overworked, and
Like
are stressed
anyone.
to the eyeballs. But yeah, just trust me, do not ever try to not have your confirmation code or your barcode getting into any American airport. They will just yell at you and shame you. And eventually someone will help you, but they'll do it so reluctantly just to get you the hell out of their country.
Top tip,
Love you,
if you're
America.
coming to Australia, don't bring anything made of wood that's been untreated. Don't bring food into the country. Trust me, I had to go pick up Brad Example when he came here. And Brad Example decided to bring in 2 cartons of cigarettes, even though we went over it many times. It's 2 packets. But Brad bought 2 cartons and got held up at customs for an hour, nearly got the glove up the bum. And then they had to go through all these medications. And boy, oh boy, did he have a shit time dealing with that stuff.
Yeah, our borders here, so even our state borders in Australia, you're going across the border in other places, and you'll pull up and they'll just be like, oh, we're searching you for drugs and weapons and guns. You come into Australia, you're like, got any fruit? Any plant-based materials? That looks like a head of lettuce in your back seat. Can you remove that for me, sir?
The funniest thing, Pete, fucking when we used to play gigs a lot in my band and we'd go interstate, we'd drive, from Victoria to New South Wales. We'd come up to the border with the big fruit signs are up, no fruit into the New South Wales. And we'd always just have fruit. We'd just buy it beforehand and like quickly take bites out of it and throw it out the window as we drive through. I just imagine the people behind us going, oh, look, they're getting rid of their fruit.
There is honestly, I have been on holidays where we've pulled up to the fruit inspection place, and they've got like a nice little spot to pull over and the bins, and I've literally been standing on the side of a highway in the middle of Australia eating an apple because I'm like, well, can't take it with you. So I better finish this apple and then throw in the scraps of any other fruit stuff in the bin. And you're like, all right, it's okay, officer. I'm not bringing it. And by the way, it's fruit fly related because Australia's agriculture industry, the reason that we take it so seriously is agriculture is like one of the biggest, outside of mining, it's Australia's biggest export industry. So if we get any diseases, any fruit fly, any like mad cow disease, like anything or flora and fauna related, we take seriously. It's why Johnny Depp nearly got his dogs put down. There's a story there. Go look it up. Yeah. When Johnny Depp came into Australia, he came in on a private jet and he snuck his dogs in. And in Australia, we have quarantine laws, which means that any animals that enter Australia have to be quarantined for 7 days. He didn't do that. And at the time, our Deputy Prime Minister, Barnaby Joyce, basically threatened to shoot his dog. And he's like, if these bloody Hollywood rock stars want to bring their dogs in here, then there's going to be consequences. And they're like, are you suggesting that the dogs be destroyed? He's like, sometimes you got to do what you got to do so yeah, you don't have to worry about drugs, you don't have to worry about weapons, but do not bring your poodles into Australia or you'll be in trouble like Johnny.
Instant death to poodles. Banks. Here we are. We're talking about banks now. Banks. Let's move to banks. I'm with a bank, and they make a lot of money. In fact, how much money does the bank I bank with? Let's find out.
Actually, really interesting looking at these market caps.
Wow.
There you go, 100.
Wow, only $110 billion. And seriously, they're very, very angry when they come after me for that $1.35 fee that they apparently think I need to pay for using their ATM. I'm sure. I'm just going to say it, ANZ. Here's the thing. I've been with the same bank since I was a kid. Because back in the day, I don't know if you experienced this, right? Back in the day when you started as a kid and got your first bank account, you'd go into the bank and you'd meet the bank manager and he'd put a first dollar into your account.
Yep.
Do you think that fucking happens anymore? Not likely. If they did put that first dollar into your bank, well, guess what would happen? You'd already be charged on it because it had to go through a process. So banks, man, and we have 4 major banks here in Australia: Commonwealth, National, ANZ. Who's the other one?
Commonwealth, ANZ, National Bank, Westpac.
Westpac Bank, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, look, it is weird. And again, yeah, the whole my dad was a banker, full disclosure. And so he worked for one of the big 4 banks, and yeah, so same sort of deal. Like he took me in to meet the bank manager, and yeah, everything was set up, and you had your passbook account. There you go. There's my horse in the race. The Combank, nearly $300 billion market cap.
Wow.
Yeah, they still pay me a $20 overdraft fee if I go 1 cent over my account.
You.
So when PayPal, I don't realize that my savings account is linked to PayPal. Instead of charging my credit card, it charges my savings account and it goes into minus, and I correct it within 24 hours. They still charge me a $20 overdraft fee because they need to. They need to make all the money. And it's weird that my bank now, they don't like me as a customer because I don't have enough debt, Jade. I've paid off all my debts to society and I've paid off all my debts to the bank. So they are constantly, like you said with Afterpay, they are throwing money at me because they realize that if I'm just making interest on money I have and not having any loans, then I'm in trouble. See you later.
See you. Good luck at your appointment. Love you both.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, it is weird because for most of my life, being 46, for about 18, since I got my first credit card until about now, I've been a bank customer that they've liked because I've owed them money. I've used credit cards and I've not paid them off in time. I've been paying the 21% interest on credit cards. I had a car loan, which are always horrendous. I had a mortgage, which was a bit better, but not much better than the car loan. And I'd go on holidays and I'd have to take more money out in my mortgage and all that that sort of jazz. So yeah, they were very happy. It's funny now that like it's crickets. I hear nothing from the bank except the odd occasional like poking at me going, you want some more money? Can we loan you some money? We really need you to pay interest. I would be surprised if I just get an email from the Commonwealth Bank. We've decided to no longer let you bank with us. We don't make enough money out of you. You don't use ATMs. You usually pay your stuff on time and you don't have enough debt for us. So piss off somewhere else. But yeah, same sort of thing. That's what it's all about. Banks, instead of making good profits, they have to keep making more profits. So, same with every other company. They're laying off staff, they're reducing the number of branches. You try and go in and actually see a person at a bank these days, you just
Good
can't
luck.
do it. You everything's online, and except when it's not. Funny thing, we were trying to discharge our mortgage, our loan, and I went to do it online, and I thought, oh, I clicked this button, and I went through this whole big online process, and it got to the end, and it's like, now just simply visit your local branch. And I'm like,
No.
you could have told me that 20 minutes ago. And why do you want me to go to my local branch now? Like, the whole point I could do this online. So, yeah, it's very weird. They don't want to see you until they absolutely do. And of course, the local branch visit was so that they could upsell me and tell me all the wonderful other products and services. Oh, have you thought about insurance with us, Mr. Johns? Are you traveling, Mr. Johns? Would you like another credit card, Mr. Johns? No, I really wouldn't. Please stop trying to make more money from me. But and yeah, same problem. We got the four. And if you want a positive spin about this, look, the alternative places are apparently really good. I think
Yeah.
Gregory O'Sullivan said he uses
Credit
an
unions are
alternative
good.
bank,
Yep.
building societies, credit
Yep.
unions. There are options out there. So it's not. But again, it's exactly what you said. And I said it's the laziness. We pay the lazy tax.
We do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you don't, because it's a drama to go and change all this fucking stuff because they make it incredibly fucking hard. What I hate about banks now going in person, the worst thing now, because look, it's already a pain in the ass going in, waiting at the teller and doing all that, but you know the system, right? You line up, you got your little window and you do all that stuff. Now, when you go in there, somebody like walks up to you, like, and you're not in line or anything. They walk up and go, "Hello there, how are you?" And you're like, fuck off, leave me alone. Why are you? I'm just at the ATM. Leave me alone. They're like, hey, do you need any help with the ATM? You're so desperate to hang on to your job, bitch. What is going on? And they have like, instead, when you used to go for a loan, you'd go into a room and sit there. So at least you're in private. Now it's all open spaces and you're sitting there and they're like, sorry, rejected loan. And you're like, thanks. Everybody's like hearing how so much I suck. Yay. Thanks for that. Thanks for like publicly shaming me. Gross. I hate that shit.
Yeah, it is weird. It's the triage model. Like I think we stole it from like the greeter model that you have in the US, where you go to Walmart. There's a person like, "Hi, can I direct you to the toilet paper? You look like you need some bog roll," and you're like, "No, I'm fine, thanks. Leave me alone." And it's the same with the bank. You walk in there, and yeah, there's someone in your face immediately, and it's like, "What can I help you with? I can't actually do any of it, but I can listen to you and then go put you in the line that's like really long." Like, no, but yeah, it's all about the triaging now, because some McKinsey consultant, what was his name again? Jeffrey? No, what did we call him? Robert. Robert came in and said, well, what you need to do is you need to triage things, because too many of the people are lining up and then they're asking for something that they could do online. So you need to put a triage person at the front that can then direct them to the self-serve terminals and then tell them to go online and tell them to do it all on their phone. And that way you'll save 14% off of your annual turnover, and then you can actually make more money and then number go up. That's Robert.
I'm going to double back here to supermarkets because I didn't even touch on this. The automatic checkouts, right? Here's the thing. When you go shopping in the daytime at a supermarket, I don't know if this is a world thing or just an Australian thing. They seem to put on all these really old ladies at all the actual checkouts that have manned things there. And you think, you know what? I can't be bothered going through the automated checkout. So I'm going to go through the one with the person there because, hey, I like a bit of banter with somebody and I want to keep somebody employed. Until I get there every time. And I'm waiting and I'm listening to Cheryl, who's like, yeah, had problems with me pancreas last week. What about you, Doris? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Why are you talking about your pancreas? Just put the stuff through the checkout so we can move on, you know? I'm here to keep your job and and they're so slow. There we go. I've had my little.
Yeah. See, I have the controversial view that as much as I like, employment and I'm union strong and labor first and all that sort of stuff, freaking love me a self-checkout. If I can just walk into a place and not have to talk to another single human. But that's my introversion coming through, not my aversion to people serving you. But yeah, like not having to have that chat.
Do you talk
to the
back?
point where, yeah.
Do you
And
talk
you can
back
still
to the automated checkout? Do you talk back to it? I do.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, no. I actually have comments because it's like, yeah. What is the thing it says at the end? And I always respond to it.
Please take your items from there.
Yeah,
I'm
please
like, I am.
Yeah, it's like, please take your. Would you like a receipt? And I'm like, no. And it's like, please take your item. Thank you for shopping. Like, thank you. And like, yeah, so you're right.
I'm literally putting them in the bag as we speak. Can't you tell I'm lifting them off? Like, aren't you AI?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh, I get so angry.
But yeah, no, it is fun for stealing things when you can buy cashews and tell them they're peanuts. That's what you do.
I'll never get that whole thing. Like, you've just put a really expensive piece of fruit down and just say strawberries. There we go. The lightest thing you could possibly put on there.
But yeah, again, I don't really steal from supermarkets, but the false positives that I get paranoid that I'm trying to steal, and they always eye you off when it's like, oh, you that item didn't scan and you put it in your thing. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. So yeah, I get slightly paranoid with that. But the next phase is the ones where you don't even scan them, you just get the stuff and walk out. And it tracks you. It's just watching you the whole time, and then you just pay for it as you go. That's creepy. That's weird.
Mate, so
Actually,
listen, I went paperless, right, for my supermarket checkout, and every time it goes, thank you for going paperless. And I go, no problem. And I grab my stuff, and as I'm taking it, please take your items. And I'm like, I am, fuckwit. And I put them in, and then as I walk out, the woman goes, have you got your receipt? And I'm like, the system is fucking stupid. I went paperless to save the planet, and now you ask me every fucking time. And I have to open the app and show them the fucking receipt. Anyway, supermarkets.
Yeah, no. And then of course you have to scan your credit card and get charged a credit card fee. So I went cashless. Like I haven't used cash in a long time, and I actually quite enjoy that because I think it's easier, it's better on the environment, and all that sort of stuff. But what have every place done now? Like even Aldi I went to the other day, and I was shocked that Aldi are now charging you like 0.7% credit card fee. It doesn't seem like much. You buy $10 and you pay $10.07, whatever. But every transaction, every time, and it's everywhere now. Everywhere I go, and I'm paying by credit card. And the most ironic ones are where it's card only, card surcharge. We pay this much. It's like, wait, what? I can only pay by credit card, and you're charging me a surcharge if I pay by if I choose to pay by credit card. And it's ridiculousness. But again, it's not surprising. I get comically upset about this, but I don't go about my day like this. I'm not constantly angry about it because that's not the answer either. We can rant for a couple of hours.
This is comedy too.
Cathartic, and then you go about your business. I go back to using all these companies, and I go back to living my life because what's the alternative?
Before we leave banks, as I said, I worked at American Express for a very long time, very high up in the corporate chain there, right? I used to deal with where I worked. So you may know in American Express, they have these, have your cards, your platinum cards and all this, and there's a titanium card. That's the people I worked with, right? So the top 1% of spenders. And like these people, this is how it works, right? So American Express is not a bank. It's a financial lending service. It has its own brand it's not taken into account with banks. And people will always say stuff like, but how come I get such an exorbitant surcharge with Amex? Well, it works different because Amex has to go out individually to companies to get them to use the card. So that's why the extra money. They broker a deal with them. So where the banks just have, a blanket surcharge because they have Visa and all that, it's a lot easier for them to broker deals because it's a universal acceptance. So American Express has to go a lot further because they have all these extra benefits. Anyway, when you're working with the top 1%, top customer it was called, and you get like the stuff you would have to do, people would call up and fully just say like, I bought a Ferrari with my card last week and I didn't pay it because you've got to pay it off by the end of the month. Or there's no like rollover. It's not a credit card. It's a charge card.
Yep.
you are charged a fee. And if you've bought a Ferrari and you don't pay in time, guess what that fee is? Oh, I don't know, like $25,000 just for the fucking late fee. But we had the power there to just sit there and go, you know what, Mr. Robert? Robert, I can help you right now. I'm going to remove that fee. Bang, it's just gone. It's just magically disappeared. But it working there really helped me understand never own a credit card. It's a fucking evil thing.
Yeah, and it's weird. Again, like, we've talked about banking for a long time, but it's not super music related.
No.
It kind of is. We all have to make money,
Yes.
and we all make music. Everyone has to deal with banks, like and the finance sector. But yeah, like no, I'm going to leave it. I'll go off all ranty again, and we don't have time for.
We've only got 2 more sections to go.
Yep.
We're going to talk about gaming for a little bit here because we're gamers, and I'm sure many of you are gamers as well. And these companies, the first one, let's talk about the first one. You can go first while I bring up how much money they make. Electronic Arts, EA. Let's talk about them. And I know some people in the chat may be associated or affiliated with them, but we're just going to talk about them. Let's have a chat. EA, Pete.
Electronic Arts, EA Sports. It's in the game. So I'm a massive gamer. I play mostly sports games, and I've played a lot of EA. I loved The Sims and SimCity, which were Maxis, which was bought by Electronic Arts. It seems to be the way it goes. That EA kind of just own a lot of the gaming space at the moment, as well as things like Battlefield and other things that people play. The problem with gaming is that everything is a revenue stream now. And just like we're seeing, this is where it relates back to music, just like we've seen with apps and with services, nothing can just be, it used to be pay $60 or here in Australia, $100. Yes, for every game, $100. Pay your $100 for your game, put your game in your console or on your PC, play your game for as long as you want to, and then rinse and repeat. And then we had the world of online gaming and everything changed. It was microtransactions and it was add-on packs and it was expansion packs and it was game passes and it was battle passes. And now if you just want to play a game, that's the exception. Like everything's got to be online and it's got to be progressive and it's got to be little mini dopamine hits that are also little mini credit card hits. So Electronic Arts, EA, and their $55 billion deal, which was sold to, now is this because Pokemon Go, which
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it was sold to Scopely, who are a division of the Saudi royal family, basically, the Saudi government. And I think this group, I don't think it's Scopely, but it's somewhat
Silver Lake. Jared Kushner. Well, who would have expected that guy to be involved in it? Yay.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to see a lot of Christian games coming out very soon, aren't we? Yeah, there you go.
So and look, it's happening everywhere. It's similar to the sport washing that we saw with the UAE and with the Saudis, where let's have the World Cup in Qatar because that makes sense. But it's the same with video games now. They're like, let's do good things for the video gaming industry and make people think and sort of ignore and not look at all the other things that go on in these countries, which we don't have time to talk about today. But if you know, you know, and if you don't, go do some research. Not Facebook research. That'll not work for you. But go do some real research into the atrocities that are going on in throughout the Middle East. So yeah, look, and it's not a like nationalism or pride thing. I don't care who owns this stuff, like because we could say, oh, but it's all them ripping us off. It's all the Chinese companies. It's all the no. It's American companies. It's Australian companies. It's all the companies. They've all just dived into this profit first, player second mentality, where every single game. And look, if you think the hardcore gaming space is bad, look at the casual gaming space.
Oh,
the
man.
folks playing things like Candy Crush and in the old days Farmville on Facebook and all of that sort of jazz, where every time there's like the currency, but then there's the real currency in the game. And to buy the in-game currency, you need to have the other currency, and then you need to spend real money to buy buckets of fish. But every bucket of fish is worth 10 sacks of hay, but can only buy hay with real money. So if you want your buckets of fish, you've got to buy your sacks of hay. And that sounds made up, but it's pretty close to what these companies are actually doing.
Because the history of video games, a lot of these Asian countries, Japanese countries especially, started out as slot machine companies. That's what they fucking were. And there was the influx of course, Space Invaders, all these games after pinball and all that. And then it still was a coin muncher, but you felt like you got, I don't know, entertainment from it. I'll never understand poker machines. It's not my slot machines. It's not my bag. I fucking hate them. They're horrible. That's a whole nother video. But obviously with games now, you don't own anything. Look, I don't have a problem with EA's games as such. They're normally really good. Like, it's the loot boxes, especially the biggest for me was the Star Wars games when they filled them full of loot boxes. What they did to Dead Space is just like unbelievable. Another fantastic game. So it's not that they make shit games. It's just, it's the whole video game industry, isn't it? They're just taking everybody for a ride. And on iOS, don't even get me started, right? Because one of the reasons I loved iOS was that for a time, they were porting actual video games across onto iOS, and they were really good ports. Yep. Now, if I go through my purchased apps on iOS, there's barely any of them running. And even like companies who make Galaga and Pac-Man and all those, Namco, they have released so many fucking apps on iOS, and then the app just dies, and then they rebrand it as a pay-to-play. Yep. And then they kill it another year later and then rebrand it again. And it's the same fucking game since 1979. And they just want you to pump coins into it. It's like, and it's on a fucking phone. It is so criminal what they're doing with games. It sucks.
Yeah, and it's the same. Like I mentioned it before, it's the same with the gambling side of things, and the money spending it's the most vulnerable people. They're basically profiting from addiction. So people that are addicted to the dopamine hits of the gaming are the ones paying literally hundreds of dollars. Like when you play an online game, because I do play a few that have the option. I don't spend the money. I just do the thing, and then when I've run out of whatever in-game credit currency I need, I'll just go play something else or do something else. But you go to that shop section, and it always has the really good deal. So they have like what's called like the first purchase. Once they get your first purchase, then they know they've got you. So there's always like 99-cent bundle, and you get all this stuff, and you're like, oh, what's a buck? Really? Let's just spend the 99 cents, and I'll enjoy the game more. But then they know they got you, because then it's like, oh, get the $9.99 bundle. And then you go in there eventually, and it's like, buy a sack of coins for $99.
Yay.
And people are just, it's a slippery slope of doing it. And it's the same thing, like you said before with Afterpay, and like the gambling companies do, the more you spend, the more freebies and benefits that they'll give you, and special deals and special offers, so that they know that you can actually spend it. And yeah, like I play NHL 26, which is an EA Sports game, and there's an ultimate team mode where you can choose to buy packs of cards and buy players and buy coins to buy things. And a lot of people do it. And they've started this really new, amazing strategy, which is if you've started spending money, they'll put better deals for you than for the people that don't. So once they know they've hooked you in, then they can use what's called spot pricing and active pricing models to actually give different things to different people. It would be like if you were using Logic Pro and they thought you might go away. So they're like, oh, you only have to pay this amount. But then someone else that they know they've locked in, they're like, oh, well, you pay the full tote odds. Which they kind of do. There are a lot of like new customer bonuses. The amount of times you look at a company and they're like, oh, if you're a new customer, you pay this amount. And I'm like, but I'm a current customer, been loyal for 10 years. And they're like, fuck you. You get nothing. Good day, sir. But yeah, it is really weird. And again, it's all death. We could have done this show in 2 minutes, which is companies want to make profits. Capitalism is a thing. Number go up. Good night.
Yeah. Don't even get me started on Bandcamp. How long is that going to last? That got purchased as well too. Steam are another games. Sony and Microsoft. We'll quickly touch on these guys. Listen, I remember the days when you used to be able to just buy a console, and that one console got you through for 5 to 6 years. Now, I refuse to buy a console anymore. I've moved to PC, and I thought I'd never move to PC, but here I am, because I don't want to buy a Microsoft console or a Sony console, and then a month later they release a different edition of it. And I'm like, well, that sucks. Why are there so many different editions of them? I don't know. So there was some good news recently about video games with exclusivity for things like Xbox. I think some of those things are happening. So games won't be exclusive to specific consoles anymore. And if you didn't know, Bandcamp is actually owned by Epic Games now, right? So who knows when they're going to kind of step in and change Bandcamp? It hasn't happened. I think they've owned them for 2023. I think they took over Bandcamp, so that's a good thing. I mean, Epic Games are currently in lawsuits with Apple and all that stuff, which brings us to Apple.
Are Apple good? Oh, Siri says yes, they are.
All right.
Done.
Apple. Here's the thing. Before I dive into Apple, there's a lot of companies, especially in the US at the moment, who are licking the boot. This is my opinion, of course. And it's not only Apple, it's news, broadcast. It's a lot of companies who are licking the boot in fear of what is being threatened by the current mafia that's in control. It is a mafia that is being run over there in America at the moment. And they are making threats against these companies, and they are doing what they can, I guess, to continue profits rising in capitalism. And they're licking the boot. And to me, Apple, I was shocked. I was shocked to see Tim Cook actually there with Donald Trump handing him an award. Somebody who's openly gay and has all these morals just thrown out the window. I was really shocked by that. I really thought more of Tim Cook. But hey, it looks like it's everybody who's bowing down in, I guess, fear of them losing profits.
Yep.
But my biggest problem with Apple at this time is the customer. I remember why I got into Apple. I fought the Apple thing for a very, very long time, and I was a PC person. I still am a PC person. I have both, right? They both are good at different things. But solely I make music now on iOS. I have done since, 2012. It's been a long journey and iOS is still a pain in the ass. It just is. You have to make compromises to make music on iOS. But there's a lot of really good stuff. And my biggest thing is Apple really spoke to me for the longest time because they really focused on making products for people, for specific people. And when they would do their keynotes, they would talk about stuff like, hey, at the start of our keynote, we now, there are people with disabilities using these devices. There are people in terrible situations who are able to use these devices to do things they thought they never could. And they would focus so much on the people and how these things were changing people. And even though they used to use the word magical, that was fucking magical, because anybody who lives with a disability or, can't do things, to have them have that option was great. And to see Apple celebrate that all the time was fantastic. And it's gone. It is absolutely gone now, and it is all just supply chain, and there's nothing ever mentioned about musicians. There's nothing really mentioned. It's just this Hollywood blockbuster video where they do all these camera angles moving from one part to another, and it's all about specs now, and it never used to be. The specs used to be hidden. They never talked about how much RAM there was. It was just, here's this thing, and it's really good. Look what it can do for you. And that's my biggest gripe with Apple is just, they've forgotten about the people who actually create stuff with it, and now they just pander to this world of people who just get the latest thing, do reviews on it, and this whole ecosystem of people just bitching about Apple and rumors and all this shit. And because I worked at Apple. Full disclosure, I worked at Apple for a period of time in the Genius Bar, and man, the service there is bar none, right? The amount of free things are given away in an Apple store, just one Apple store a day, for people who don't have a warranty. Their warranty's way out. The amount of things that are given away, and just like, oh my God, yeah, they actually look at your spend, and I shouldn't be saying all this kind of stuff, but that still goes on. The way they hire staff is incredibly weird. There's a lot of happy Mormon people there, and you have to be like a happy clapper. I never fit in when I worked there. They hired me as a creative at first, and there's a lot of people who work there who are very, say, like from religious cults, and so they're very easily, and I didn't fit at all, so I had to leave, and I didn't get along with those people. But yeah, Apple seems to be less and less about accessibility, even though accessibility is still a major part in their systems and stuff. They just don't seem to focus on the way you can use it. And now it's all about the specs, and it shits me. And I wish they could go back to it. I'm thinking about digging up Steve Jobs. Over to you, Pete.
Yeah. So I don't know. People are probably watching the last 2 hours going, they're not going to talk about Apple. They
Fuck
wouldn't
yeah.
talk about Apple. Yeah. Look, I talk about Apple quite openly, and again, the thing I respect most about Apple is that I full disclosure, I've received products from Apple for on a loan basis. They've never given me anything for free. They have never paid me, but they've also never told me what to say or what to think. At any point. So I'm completely independent. But you could say, well, you're not John's because they give you free stuff. Well, I get to test the new stuff so that I can tell you what's good and what's not. And right now, I can say things like, if you've got an iPhone 15 or 16, don't buy a 17. And if you've got an M2 or an M4 Mac or iPad, don't buy the M5. It's not the upgrade you need. So I can say things like that. And yes, Apple do some things wrong. Yes, the marketing. I was saying this to Jade in the pre-show. The marketing team have kind of won out over the user experience team and the customer service team, which is a problem that we see everywhere. But yeah, the whole let's sell shiny thing. Look at the Vision Pro. The Vision Pro was basically
Oh,
a beta testing developer kit. It wasn't a thing that should have been sold to any customer that could walk into a retail store.
no.
But Apple don't know how to sell things that aren't new and shiny and the thing that people should walk into a retail store and buy. So the marketing team just marketed it the same way they market an iPhone, which doesn't work. And yeah, and in terms of some of the management decisions and some of the things they've chosen to do, like every other company, yeah, I don't agree with a lot of that stuff. What I think is different, because they think different, you see, Jade, what I think is different is that they're actually still trying. They're still pushing against things. So they are trying with accessibility. Every release actually mentions accessibility, at least. Other companies are just not. I don't remember the last time an Nvidia or a Microsoft or a Sony actually mentioned anything about accessibility. They're actually mentioning the environment. They still have their 2030 focus. And I said to Jade yesterday an article that they literally released yesterday. They must have known we were talking about it. But they're about to pump a lot of money into renewable energy projects here in Australia and across the ditch in New Zealand as well, which is good. Like this is the sort of thing that is not happening with other companies because of the regime that we're seeing now globally, companies are pulling back on this stuff because they don't have to greenwash anymore because no one seems to care. And the fact that Apple are still actually caring, they're still committed. They could have just thrown their 2030 carbon neutral goals out the window and said, well, you know what? No one cares about that anymore. But they don't, and they didn't. So I think they are still, and the fact that they are now a services company and more of like a health company with the Apple Watch and with all the stories about, oh, mountain climber with $10,000 Hermes Ultra watch got saved by GPS and it's like, well, why were they out there in the first place without proper help? But anyway,
Yeah, think
so yeah,
about
they
it,
want to sell
rich
those.
prick.
They want to sell those stories, which is fine. So yeah, look, again, like most companies, I have mixed feelings about Apple, as I do with Google, as I do with all the companies that I work
Sure.
for. I'm not like people don't realize that my wife had an iPhone before I did. My first iPhone was the iPhone 4S, so I've only been an Apple fan person for about 10 years. Prior to that, I used Nokia phones. I loved the Nokia E61 and E71 phones that I used to use, like the smartphones. I said I'd never have a phone that didn't have a physical keyboard. Yeah, when was the last time you saw a phone with a physical keyboard? And I used exclusively PCs. I didn't own my first Mac until 2020, and I only started using iPads in about 2016 when I started actually getting into more recording and realized that GarageBand on iPad was pretty rad. So yeah, it's something that, and look, Apple may go one or two ways. They may sort of tighten up and get back to more of a user focus, and then that'll be great. They may completely go the way of other companies where it's all about profit and it's all about just burn and churn, baby. And then I won't love it. But I have hope. And I guess the one thing that they're doing that I don't see any other company doing is actually trying. Like it's very easy at the moment to give up. It's almost I've said that I miss the villains. I miss the evil villains that would at least pretend to be good, and then you knew that they were doing underhanded stuff and going whoa, behind your back. But now it's just so in your face that Nvidia are
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're burning up the environment. We're just selling as many GPUs as we can because you suckers keep wanting to make AI slop. So why the hell wouldn't we? Why would we have any targets or goals around climate change or emissions targets? So yeah, like to kudos to Apple as the 5 trillion, 4 trillion, how many trillion dollar company they are.
We haven't looked yet.
Yeah, then at least they are actually still trying, and that may sound like a cop out, but it's my honest opinion on the situation.
6. trillion
Yeah.
dollars.
Remember, that's Australian. So what's that? That's about
Australian.
4-ish trillion
yeah.
USD, but still a hell of a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, look, the thing is, again, the software has, again, this. You mentioned this earlier. We've become beta testers, and the software, especially in the last 3 years, maybe a little bit more. As soon as they open, another problem with their software, as soon as they open things up to public beta testing, for me is when everything went to shit, right? Because even here on this show, when I cover so many apps, a lot of apps get beta tested, right? A lot of things get beta tested. And I am on a lot of betas for apps, being 100% out there. So developers will reach out to me and say, hey, I've got this app. Can you help beta test it? And I do that because I want to help it come to market. And so I do my show and it's not fucking up. So I do that. There's a lot of people out there who jump on betas just so they can say they've got it before anybody else. Yeah. And I just want to let you know, you're not winning anything, right? There's no prize. Nobody gives a fuck if you've got it first. So if you're going to be a beta tester, fucking test it. And when Apple moved to this model of like, we're going to go public, people aren't submitting reports. They're just not doing it. And so what happens is the iOS gets dragged out further and further, and the bugs take longer and longer to get sorted. And the other thing with Apple too, with software, and especially for devs, they don't give devs early access to this stuff, and they don't communicate with them. So devs are just scrambling each time. That's been an ongoing thing with Apple. But yeah, the user experience has gone absolutely down the toilet. I just updated to 26.1, and boy, oh boy, whoa, has there been some issues. But I think most of them I've got sorted out. Just even updating was a super pain in the ass. It failed so many times, and I'm just not used to that. I'm used to Apple being pretty damn good. And it's
the thing to keep in mind too with operating systems is that we're addicted to change now. We don't think we are, but the yearly cycle that we now have for new products and for operating system updates is actually not a natural thing. We think it is because it's been the case for so long now, but think about early days. Think about the fact that Windows 3.1 came out in 1990, Windows 95 came out in 94, Windows 2000 and XP came out in 99, and then Windows 7 came out in 2004. It used to be like 5 years of full work to go from one version of an operating system to another. Same with Mac OS Lion and Leopard and Snow Leopard and Bush Dingo and whatever else they had. They were all multiple year cycles. And it's only now that we've got addicted to new shininess coming in every year. And look, we're not going back because what did they call the latest version? 26.
Yep.
So guess what? We're going to have in 2026, 27. They're not going to let it live and just breathe and be the same version. So going into these yearly cycles, same with gaming, there's always got to be a new game version of the thing. Like I play sports games and I've got like FC 26 now because last year's FC 25, you can't play FC 25, 26 is out. Can't play NHL 25, 26 is out. So yeah, we've got into this yearly cycle and these quick turnarounds and the agile development and the scrum masters of the world unite. But yeah, we've got into this, we need change. And change is good. I wrote a song about it. The only thing that doesn't change is that things will change. But I think as soon as you start getting into the change for change's sake mentality, you do things too quickly, you rush production, you rush development, there's more bugs, things don't work out of the gate, and that's where we're at. And I think because instead of it being released on like a CD or a disc and you have to install it, because everything's online and updatable now, it gives companies an excuse to put out an unfinished product and then just go patch to fix it afterwards, instead of spending the time and resources and energy of doing proper testing and then releasing something that actually freaking works. Didn't their logo, didn't it used to be "It Just Works"? Yeah. Is that what Apple used to say?
Look, there's a lot of really good things about Apple still. Absolutely. And this show is a rant. Yeah, and so take it with some seriousness and a grain of salt. I know I'm trying to make you laugh and kind of at the terrible situation we're in at the moment. But there is some really good stuff, yeah, because these tools that we have allow us to make music easier than ever before. You know, even if it's computers or iPads or Macs or desktops, we do live in the future and we do have a lot of really cool stuff at our fingertips. Obviously, you know, every one of these companies is now motivated by profit. That is just the way it is. I don't know how we fix it. We're not here to give you answers, right? We're not magic, unless Pete is. Are you magic?
No, I'm very far from magic, and yeah, I want to say that Sander Wolf just said, yeah, he agrees with everything I said, but don't really care about us because we're rather niche, and that's a really good
Yes,
point.
it's
That's a
true.
very valid point. Is that we think the other thing that's happened in recent times is that everyone thinks they're special, and everyone thinks that their needs and their wants are actually. I know you talked about wants and needs recently, Jade, and ran about this sort of stuff, but they think that what they want, and especially within the music creating community and the extra niche iOS music creating community, let's be honest, Apple are not pumping out Macs and iPads and iPhones for us. They're pumping them out for the majority. And when we get the occasional mention of GarageBand or Logic Pro or Final Cut Pro or something, then it's like, hooray, they care about us, they remembered us. But yeah, like they do need to produce products that are going to be for the mass market, and we're utilizing that. So yeah, I agree with that. It's a very good thing. But yes, I am very magic.
Yeah, and Pole Vault is the most magical of all. I've seen Pole Vault do magic on his show. There's no denying that. Look, and you're right. You know, with Apple working there, the people in the time I worked at Apple, you would rarely have creatives come in, unless it was something really bad that had happened to their device. And when I did work there too, they had all these sessions where they taught GarageBand. I even stood in and did some of those where kids would come in. And so they do have a lot of this really cool stuff there. But you are right. The majority of customers that we would have come in were basically this: I dropped my phone and the screen's broken. That's pretty much it, you know. And most of the people there, a lot of the classes they run at Apple stores, which I think is great. I don't know if they still do them. I haven't been to an Apple store forever. Because these days I'm rocking at a 13. You know, I don't need to have the latest thing these days.
Yep.
Because they last a long time, right? But they would have these classes where elderly people would go in and they'd be teaching elderly people all the things, and just to still see the amazement on like a 65-year-old lady's face going, "Oh, really? So it's just more than taking phone calls." It's like, God, you spent $1,000 just to make phone calls.
Yeah. That they still do run them. So at least at the Adelaide store, I was in one the other day, and they were actually showing the Photos app, and I learned a few things. I was watching this. I was watching this demonstration, and they're like, "Oh, okay, so if you want to find photos, you can go to the search and you can type." I'm like, "Oh shit, the search in Photos app is actually really good." And I learned that you can search by app. You know, I can find all my Canva exports that I've done and just delete all of them that I don't need. That's rad. So yeah. And I did. The people that were there were not people like me. They were people that were just again
a lot of
normies,
schmoes,
which is the majority of folks, which is a good thing that they're actually doing that, because again we are special in that we have very special and niche things, but it also means that we don't get everything delivered exactly as we want it. Because look, I still lament the fact that we have no headphone jack on iPhones and iPads now. Do you know who doesn't care about that anymore? 99% of people.
True.
And they removed it, and everyone was a little frustrated for a year or so, and then they got over it. Now everyone just uses either wireless, or they just have a dongle, or they plug in headphones that are Lightning or USB-C. So yeah, for me, I'm like, but we need a headphone, and it's like, well, no one else wants that. So yeah, it is hard to realize sometimes that other people are different, and that the needs of the many are different from the needs of the few. And we are the few. We're rad. We're cool. Don't get me wrong. We're the best niche. We're the bbest small percentage, and we are very, very humble too.
You know, one thing I learned when I worked at Apple. So I'll tell you this little story. So I got given a iPad mini for Christmas, and I knew I was getting it from my ex-wife, and I opened it up, and I was standing out the backyard, and I pulled the lid off, and the box fell out of my hand, and the iPad mini fell face down onto the concrete. Hadn't even taken it out of the box, and the whole screen was smashed. And because I'd worked there previously, I kind of know how they work. So on Boxing Day, we went straight into the local Apple store, and I went, I just got this for Christmas, and opened it up, and it fell out of my hand as I was opening it, and it smashed. And they were like, "Oh, that's really terrible." And I was like, yeah, could you look me up in the system and see how much I spend with you? And they did that, and they came out and gave me a brand new iPad. I'm just going to say this. The last thing I'm going to say on Apple is I can't tell you how many devices they've replaced for me for free and done screen repairs for free. It's a lot.
Yep.
It's a lot. I've never had any other company bend over and do that kind of stuff. And it's not because I knew how to rig the system, but it does blow my mind. And when you actually work at Apple and see how many things they do for nothing and break the little rules and go, here you go, here's a new device. To see even my reaction was, and to see even while waiting, see so many people's reactions going, oh, really, you're just going to give me that? I thought this was going to cost me. It blows my mind. It really does. So there's that.
Yep. And I know people will. There'll always be someone in the comments that'll then say, "Oh, but when I went in this one time, they were shit."
Of course.
Which they also just can't do everything you said. Some people have unreasonable expectations as well. Like it's their third phone, they've dropped the last two in the toilet, and this one's suddenly broken as well. And they're just like, okay, there's limitations. But I got to tell you, you talked about the toxic positivity and the happy clapping and stuff. The one, and I've told you this before, Jade, I've mentioned it on this show before. The one thing I wish they would stop doing is that they've obviously done surprise and delight training. Because whenever they do something for free, they always come back with this stern look on their face. And it's like, look, it's look, I'm really sorry, Mr. Johns. We're going to have to replace the whole screen.
They do.
And that is going to cost you today $0. And it's like, could you not do the whole song and dance thing? The whole leading you into feeling bad and then suddenly happy again. It's like, yes, we've got bad news. Your dad didn't pull through. He did amazing. He's great now. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, don't do that. Like
surprise and delight is a very corporate thing, and they run these campaigns. When I worked at Telstra, they did it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that one would never really worked. We didn't even talk about telcos, thank God. I'm going to throw it out to you guys for
please do.
Let's give you guys some time. Throw some companies and some experiences that you've had. If you want to talk about it, we'll entertain your comments for the last little bit of the show. We've gone over time, but it's okay. I'm sure Pete will be all right with this. So
yes,
we'll give
absolutely. I got another 13 minutes, so we can have time for your stories.
13 minutes. Throw some companies up that you've been let down. You feel like they are doing this, the death of trust. They've taken your trust and they've thrown it in the toilet and taken a whiz all over it because it's important to have. The only thing, US healthcare. Well,
I'm so sorry. Very sorry. Sorry. Every time I talk to someone in the US right now, it's like the first thing I say, they're like, "Oh, hi, Pete." I'm like, "Hi, how you going? I'm sorry."
Yeah, I know.
I can't help, and I feel useless, and I feel helpless, but I'm genuinely sorry for some of the things. And look, it could be as little as someone mentioned tipping before, and I've got to tell you that the whole service charge and tipping thing, it's one reason why it's wonderful to be in Australia. When I was last in the US, walking into a Wendy's or a McDonald's and places now that like there's a little tip option. Anytime you swipe in your card, they turn the thing around and it's like, do you want to tip 10%, 20% or 30%? And like the nothing button is like the same shameful, I want to quit the gym button that you have on Netflix now to not do anything. And in a lot of it, the service charge is already included and then they're asking you for a tip on top of it. Anyway.
Yeah, we don't do tips here in Australia. Yeah, because we actually pay people a decent kind of wage.
Service. But no. Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing when there's a decent wage here. You don't need tips. Pole Vault says Playboy always got me. Just not enough bang for my buck. Well,
maybe the ads, not enough boobies.
Maybe you shouldn't buy it for the articles, Pole Vault. Because even the articles in Playboy have gone down a lot. The US government says, Trevor Bear, look, government's everywhere, really. They're quite mean, aren't they?
I like that Panda Cat, with the plug-in companies that switch to subs but don't honor previous purchases. Yeah, that's a big one. You mentioned it before with the games, Jade. It's the same thing with a lot of plugins where you bought it outright and then that one doesn't get updated, but there's suddenly a new version that has a subscription fee attached to it. And I get it. Services income is a lot better than individual purchase income, but you got to grandfather people into that sort of stuff.
subscriptions are always a thing that are going to piss people off, and the way they handle them. I mean, I've seen some things recently with iOS apps that try to release a new app and with subscription, and the pushback made them change their whole model. So I love when developers do that. They got Sanderwolf says Playboy used to have some really great articles back in the 60s and 70s. That's true. They're not really good now. Of course you buy it for the articles. I've seen your live stream. GK Mac, of course you do. Waves suck, says Greg O'Sullivan.
Never used Waves plugins. I think I've used them on Cubasis. I think
Yeah.
Cubasis had some Waves add-ons, which were okay. But yeah, I've never got anything that requires an iLock. I have boycotted from day dot. I am not into that whole thing.
Isn't iLock a thing of the past? I heard iLock would.
It's rarely used, but
it
same
was
thing.
going
Even the
down.
ones that have their own app, you know, those plugins that you install, but you've got to install the overall app first and then have that app running to install the plugins on top. Like AUV3 is so much nicer. Like we complain about iOS stuff, but desktop apps with the way you have to install them are just stupid.
Sandorf says LumaFusion update rant worthy. Is there an update?
Oh.
Hang on, let's have a look. Because
LumaFusion keeps popping up and telling me it's got new stuff, and I'm like, that's lovely. I'm just going to keep doing the same stuff I've been doing for years.
I don't see an update. A week ago, there was an update. It's the stuff for minor issues with Paint X, which I covered here on the channel. I'm actually, to tell you a little bit of behind the scenes, they've reached out to me to be a creator as part of this thing that's happening soon. And they're going to focus on creators who use LumaFusion, and they want to feature me for my Walk With Me series. So that's a little bit exciting.
I don't care about me because I'd use none of their features. I use them. I could use iMovie and get pretty much the same result as I get with LumaFusion.
Oh, let's talk about Adobe for a second. They are an absolute bunch of and I think everybody's had enough of Adobe. They've backed themselves so hard into a corner. They are totally fucked now. You know, Neural DSP users, there still are companies. I've just seen recently a lot of companies who are backing out of iLock. I think, you know, like anything, you have an agreement with a company, you use that agreement for a while, and then it's gone, and then you back out, and it's good to see that companies are doing it. I did see one company drop a new app, and their motto was proudly not using iLock. It was the feature of their new app. It was like, wow, that's saying something. Yeah. That is definitely saying something. Waves are okay now. Yeah, look, Waves make some pretty good stuff. Adobe buys and kills competitors. Thankfully, we have Affinity. Who knows what's going to happen with that with Canva? Well, I can't tell you exactly what is happening with that. They've released Affinity for desktop. It is free, 100% free. I've spoken to them. It is 100% free. The only thing you're paying for is your Canva account if you want to use the AI features. That's it. It's all for the AI features. It is being developed for iOS at the moment. That will come early to 2026. And it will be free as well. But there still is the availability to get the Affinity apps on iPad completely free, so you really should be doing that right now. Adobe is evil. I mean, the thing is with Adobe too, they were one of the most pirated pieces of software until they went to subscription, right?
Yeah.
Everybody had a pirated Adobe Photoshop at some point, or is that just me?
And and look, there's a whole separate rant about that of the protectionism versus just having a good product that people are happy to pay for. And look, subscriptions aside, yes, subscriptions are definitely a thing. But I don't know if you've done this, but I've gone out of my way. So back in the Napster days, I downloaded music.
Yes.
Some of it was not authorized for me to download.
True.
But if I found an artist or a band or something that I really dug, I'd go and find out about them. And then I'd go out of my way to spend money on them. And it's kind of the same with products and with like software. There's software that I'm very, very happy to pay for, that I love and that I want to use and that I'll be happy to pay for and support the developer for. But the majority of the ones that kind of spend a lot of time protecting themselves are usually the crappier ones that do get pirated, sure, but that's kind of like your cost of doing business. It's like the shrinkage. It's like the supermarkets knowing that people are going to buy cashews and weigh them as peanuts. It's the same thing. And I think the more barriers that these companies put in the way, and we've seen this with Adobe, going to subscriptions, going with the whole locking mode, going with the you have to download the installer to install the installers to install the products, to then to going to the checking in with the internet. Like the amount of times I've been using Adobe and I'd be like offline. Like if I'm on a plane on my laptop trying to use my Adobe and it's like, oh, you haven't checked in with the server for a while. We think you're a thief. We're going to disable your freaking Premiere. And it's like, yeah, I don't have that with LumaFusion. I'll pay for LumaFusion. If LumaFusion came out with a brand new version that they said, oh, we've created this whole new thing and it's even better and it's even easier. And it's got like auto subtitling and it's got auto music video making features. I'd buy it again because I've got my $37 value out of LumaFusion over the last 5 years and then some. So yeah, it's about supporting the companies, and the ones that are crap and need to do better.
Well, look, I've talked about this on this channel so much. Developers are doing it really hard at the moment, especially iOS, right? And there's this trap we've fallen into on iOS where somebody releases an app and then everybody just expects free updates forever. Forever and ever. There are apps still out there that were made in 2013, and as soon as like the developer goes, I'm going to release a new version of it, here's this version number 2, so it's a whole new purchase, people like get the pitchforks and go like, are you kidding me? Let's go. It's like you've had it since 2013. Like you do realize people have to eat. Like, like free updates. No other company on desktop does that. It's very rare that desktop companies will do like a major update and give it to you for free. iOS is such a kinder place. And so, again, I looked at gospel musicians apps a few weeks ago, and on desktop, they're like $230. On iOS, it's 11. The one thing I'm surprised nobody's put in chat is television. Netflix, because that is a fucking basket. That's the whole market that deserves an entire show, because Apple promised ages ago, we're going to change television and we're going to make television. It's like, no, television is horrible. You subscribe to a Netflix or whatever to watch a show, and then in a month it's on another network that you've got to subscribe to, and then wow, television's a fucking mess. No wonder people are pirating.
Yeah, look, it's there's been a lot of things. I went grey market years ago. So as soon as Hulu and Netflix came along, I went, oh, well, I'm going grey market now. I want to pay for these content because I know that the actors that work hard, not the big studio producers, not the rich fuckers, but the people that are actually the key groups and the people that work behind the scenes and the small time directors and the independent movie and independent TV creators, they need to get paid, and they weren't, because I was just obtaining their movies and TV shows. So I wanted to go grey market, so I had to get a VPN back before they weren't even really a thing, and then sign up to Netflix and Hulu in the US, and then pretend I lived in Waterloo, Iowa. It was a whole big thing. But it was cool because Netflix and Hulu, between the two of them, had every TV show and every movie pretty much imaginable. And then they got greedy, and then they started separating things out. And now there are approximately 10 different streaming platforms that you can buy for between $10 and $20 per month.
Yeah.
And even then, the companies are so greedy that they're not paying the licensing fees to a lot of the shows and TV and movies that they used to have available. So there's something. I went to try and watch The Amazing Race the other day. I used to love The Amazing Race, like the early seasons of it. They're not anywhere. You have to buy the DVDs. It's the only way to watch that show. And that's owned by I forget which one, but one of the big TV distribution companies. No one wants to pay for me to have the ability to watch that. So dead media is what's happening now. And guess what I could do? I could go to some sort of bay and go, arr, and download the whole first season of the Amazing Race. But I don't want to have to, but I got no choice because the DVDs are unavailable. So what are you going to do?
Let's wrap it up. Pete, what have you got coming up on your channel?
We've got the usual suspects over the weekend. We're doing a happy hour on Sunday, which is Saturday evening for most of you. I'm doing flying related songs just for fun because I love a bit of plane spotting, and a lot of the plane spotting community that I hang out with have come across to the happy hour, which is super cool. We've got Your Music Live, of course, which is playing your best indie tunes. And I'll be looking at all the joy that is iPad OS 26.1 and the new GarageBand 2.3.18 updates on GarageBand Weekly. So subscribe subscribe and tune in for all of that live goodness.
Wonderful stuff. Tomorrow I got Medipads. We've got 2 shows tomorrow because there's so many apps I have to just keep up. So looking at Medipads first at the usual time. And then after that, I think I'm looking at an app called Dronage. It's going to get people upset because it's not AUV3. And there's that one last thing I want to talk about. I have a new show happening very soon, and it is probably kicking off towards the end of this month. It is called The Luck of the Claw. And it is kicking off. It is not a members-only stream, but members only can get their songs played. And there's going to be a lot of balls involved in it. If you're into balls, and I know Rhett's into balls, the new show is kicking off. It'll be once a month when I'll play your music, and it'll be selected by a claw machine. And every song will be balls. That is just what is happening. If you're interested in that, so that's coming up.
Balls.
All the balls. Let's get out of here and wrap things up. I'm going to play a song to close everything. Thank you, Pete, for coming on the show today. You rock. Thank you, everybody, for being here and participating in the chat. You guys make the show. We just sit here and talk nonsense. And if you're watching on the replay also, thank you. Type something in the comments. Leave a comment below and tell us about the worst companies that have taken your trust away. Get involved, and I'll answer, and I'll argue with you and all that kind of stuff. But to close today, we're going to play a song by Pete Johns because ultimately we're kind of lucky. That's all I'll say. All right. See you later, everybody. Please, can you stay on for me to say goodbye to you at the end, or do you have to
go?
All right,
yes.
cool.
I know I started to finish, but that was so I could chat to you, Jade.
Oh,
a little behind the scenes.
Awesome. Love you lots. Do the things that make you happy and all those things. This is Pete Johns. Lucky. Let's do it. Let's ja.
4 a.m. alarm, turn off quickly. Taxi arrives, do not toot. The kids are still asleep. Well, maybe I am too. Skip the coffee, try to sleep on the plane today. Check my bag, have I packed what I will need? Aisle seat, cause that's my preference. It keeps me separate from the people carrying way too much in the overheads. Safety demonstration, hoping once again it won't be needed. It's a class structure on a tiny scale. Life will have its ups and downs, and sometimes I complain about the things that I will choose to do and who it is that I can blame. But when I see the other people cold and sleeping in the rain, I'm lucky to be flying today. Flying today. Flying today. Yes, I'm lucky to be flying today. 8 a.m. is when I land, it's time to plan my getaway. A big red bus will take me all the way. Past some giant orange sticks, coffee time at last. I make it last until I reach the comfort of my home, away from home. 2-hour meeting about that new thing that's impacting our sales generation capability, promoting synergy and shifting paradigms is stressing me and making me wish that it was nearly time to start my journey home. Life will often make me feel that expectations are unreal, and deadlines that I have to hit will make me think that I'm unfit. But when I see the other people begging for my change to eat, I'm lucky to be flying today. Flying today. Flying today. Yes, I'm lucky to be flying today. Yes, life will have its ups and downs, and sometimes I complain about the things that I will choose to do and who it is that I can blame. But when I see the other people cold and sleeping in the rain and wishing they could have my life even for a single day, struggling to just get by, asking for a reason why, I just walk past them every time. Hey buddy, can you spare a dime? I look away as if I find it just too hard to realize I'm lucky to be flying today. Flying today. Flying today. I'm lucky to be flying at all.
And I just want to give a big thank you to today's sponsor, DistroKid. Use my code distrokid.com/RIP/Jade Starr to get 7% off your first year. Thank you, DistroKid, and thank you all for joining us. Let's Oach, baby.